You do. A few takeaways there. First of all, it doesn't sound like Brad Treliving and the organization are giving up on Ilya Samsonov. I mean, I genuinely think if that were the case, they would have gone down a little bit more of the Jack Campbell route, where you play him, and if he doesn't, get better, and if he doesn't stop pucks at the AHL level, then, you just leave him down there. I think there is an amount of care being put into at least the diagnosis of the situation, which is Ilya Samsonov is struggling mentally. How do we put together a plan that best fits his needs? So there's that. The second thing that sticks out to me is, and I was at Marley's practice today, and Hannu Toivonen wasn't there, and that was kind of the first kind of key to me that, he'd be working with Toivonen, Samsonov would be working with Toivonen. You talk to goaltenders in the Marley's organization who have worked with Hannu. He's obviously a former NHL player himself. Joseph Woll in particular really appreciated working with Hannu in the time they worked together at the Marlies, because with Hannu Toivonen, the end of the world was always very far away. He's a very light-hearted personality. He's a positive person. And the key in terms of Woll and Toivonen's relationship was that Toivonen just wanted him to play and play through his struggles and not overthink things, and just get out on the ice and trust yourself on the ice and simply believe in yourself. I think this could be a potentially good marriage, because if you look at where Samsonov is at right now, he's clearly down on himself. He's struggling mentally. So to put him with, at least on the ice, a person that has a much more positive demeanor than perhaps some other goalie coaches, I think that's something that could work. We'll see if it does, but I think it's a good first step to recovering, or to help Ilya Samsonov recover from these struggles, because Brad Treliving is right. The Leafs need him, right? You can't go forward with Martin Jones and Dennis Hildeby. You need something else there. Whether the Leafs try to acquire someone else, we don't know. Whether, Ilya Samsonov can get back to where he was, we don't know. But it's pretty clear the Leafs can't keep going with what they have until Joseph Woll gets back from a pretty precarious injury too. Right. So to me, this is a good first step.
Absolutely. And if it works out, it's the easiest solution. So we'll keep our eyes on that. This is Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson, for NHL Morning Skate, weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it. There's a chance. Rebound, Caulfield shoots and scores.
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio.
Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
Get the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey, NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Not only is Sidney Crosby one of the greatest, probably top 5 NHL players of all time, and there's some non-hockey people in Pittsburgh that don't want to hear this, he's as good and as important as anyone who's ever played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whether you want to understand that or not, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. 24/7 hockey talk.
One of the greatest goaltenders of all time. Patrick Waugh, when you put your hands up, did you know at that moment that you were done?
No, I did not. Unfortunately, it happened. Just gave me a chance to have a fresh start somewhere else and be traded to Colorado was a good opportunity. Sometimes you need that little, change, and it was welcome for me.
SiriusXM, NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
18 months ago, I had New Flyers head coach John Tortorella. And I asked him what he was worried about the club, and he said, I don't like the room. We have a bad room. And I'm like, you haven't even coached this team yet. A year and a half later, John Tortorella loves his room, he loves this team, and he loves that they compete every night.
Points with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on Sirius XM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The X Factor players.
Okay, let's dive into that. Jim Taddy and Josh Cloak with you on Leafs Game Night. So the X factor for me, Josh, would be how tightly the Maple Leafs will adhere to the defensive structure the coach wants them to play, and at what sacrifice offensively is there?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. I just don't know how much, as much as you want to believe that the Leafs can start to play defensively sound hockey soon enough. You know, you kind of want to see them start to do that against, you know, teams that aren't necessarily towards the top of the pile there. Like, I just think the Kings are going to give you such a hard time in your own building that it might be hard to start to play that kind of hockey. Like, we talk about DNA. You're right. If the Leafs are going to focus on playing defensive hockey, but they're going to restrain the likes of Matthews and Marner, do you have a chance of winning this hockey game? That'll be really, really interesting to watch. For me, I think it comes down to Martin Jones. And I say that because you look up and down this Leafs roster. Noah Gregor is one player, but I don't think anybody has more experience playing in California than Martin Jones, right? He knows this building. He knows the entire, California trip. But I just think Martin Jones is going to be really, really comfortable playing in Los Angeles, a building that, there's probably players on this team. Matthew Nyes sticks out as one who have never played in this building. So it helps to have players who are really kind of familiar and comfortable playing in a rink that they play in just once a year. And I think it helps even more, potentially, that player is the one between the pipes.
So I want to ask this question because we sat beside each other on Saturday night and we saw what Carolina did, and it's not earth-shattering. It's been done by many teams over the last 30 years. The Leafs are in their own zone. There's a Carolina guy patrolling the blue line, and if you get by him, there's basically a snow fence in the neutral zone. And they don't score a lot of goals, but they win a lot of hockey games. How hard would it be for the Leafs to come up with their own version of that?
Well, it would be a little bit hard. And I think, when we're talking about defensive structure, that was something that Sheldon Keefe pointed out before the team left for California. That Los Angeles plays a 1-3-1 in the neutral zone, and not every team does that. Some do, but they play it really, really well. And I think he pointed that out because it looks a little bit different from what the Leafs do. Look, I think you're at that point in the season where it's difficult to kind of wipe the whiteboard clean and come up with something new just in terms of defensive approach, defensive structure. I personally think it's going to be a personnel move that gets the Leafs moving towards kind of something that Sheldon Keefe would like to replicate if we're talking about Carolina, right? We don't know who those players are. And I know this is something that I keep harping, on about, Tapman, but I just think if you're going to play a little bit more defensively sound hockey, you have to have the right players there to do that. And I don't know if they have that yet. And I think that's why, again, we've talked about this before, but I have to believe Brad Treliving is going to be watching, how his team responds against, the likes of Los Angeles, for me, a top 5 team in the NHL right now, just as he watched them play against Carolina. And, in the back of his mind, he might be thinking, what do I need to do to get my team back to that level? Because the Leafs are not a top 5 team right now. They're sort of on the fringes. So ultimately for me, it's going to be a personnel decision that gets them closer. And that's why the next month or so, month and a half before the trade deadline is going to be so, important for this team.
Well, sometimes I go through this exercise of, who would you add on the wing and on the third and fourth line to make them defensively responsible. And while they're going to do something like that as they did last year, the fact of the matter is they've got 4 highly paid offensive players that drive this thing. So it's almost like a conflict of interest, isn't it?
It does, and I think at some point when we talk about this team's DNA, they're kind of just going to have to decide. And I don't think Sheldon Keefe is going to throw his hands up in the air and say, fine, let's try and win every game 6-5. But it's just about making sure that, the likes of William Nylander, for example, or Mitch Marner, who I think we should include if we're talking about, the accountability piece that seems to be a buzzword around Toronto these days.
Yeah.
It's not about them sacrificing offense for defense. It's just about making sure they are adhering to the basic principles of the game that allow these teams to be defensively successful. It's about back checking. It's about having your stick in the right position. And these players know that. They don't need me to tell them that. It's just about doing it shift after shift after shift. And again, I think that's where the accountability piece that we've talked about, that's where it comes into play. Because if you're going to hold one player accountable, you have to hold the whole team accountable when it comes to defensive play. So it'll be interesting to see how some players respond to that. David Kampf came out and spoke very openly, with the media quite briefly as well about the fact that he knows he needs to be better. And you just wonder if that need to be accountable does stretch throughout the entire team.
Well, Leafs starting a 3-game road trip, and here's Morgan Riley on what he enjoys most about road trips.
These long trips with the guys?
I think it's just a perk of the job, a good chance to travel. And, like you said, come out here, get some good weather. And but ultimately, it's just good for the team to get together, I think. Important games for us. Obviously, the Kings have been having a great season, so that's our focus here today.
What have you thought of the way...
That was a good answer.
I got it.
Okay. No, I can't. If I could, I would.
What have you thought of the way Simon Benoit has sort of taken the bull by the horns here?
I think he's been outstanding. I think in the last couple of games or last couple of weeks, he's really had a chance to kind of put the player he is on display. He's a big guy that can skate well, and he likes to be physical. He's strong down low, and he can move the puck too. So, I think he's had some flashes of great stuff. But all around, he's been outstanding for us. When you see a player like that take an opportunity to play a bit more, move up in the lineup, or whatever you want to call it, and play well, that's always great.
When you have so many injuries as you guys did on the blue line, and then the guys come up and now we're competing for jobs. What's that mean for the team?
I think it's good. I think it's always good to have kind of internal competition, both in training camp and then over the course of the season. You want to be competitive. That's the nature of sports and pro sports is there's always competition, whether it's your opponent, yourself, your teammates, your line mates, your partners. It's, it's on the ice, off the ice. It's always happening. So, when we're able to, put that into action and, help the team, I think it's a good thing.
Has there been more to like from this team than maybe the results have shown in the last handful of games?
Yeah, I think so. I think if you look at our most recent games, there's been, I think, a lot of positives. And I think our game is trending in a good direction. But ultimately, you want results, and, we haven't got them. So that's not always easy to look past. But, I think that's just how it goes. I think you have to draw the positives and, keep going.
What about your own game? Do you feel like you are where you want to be?
I feel good. You're always going to want to get better. I don't think anybody's ever satisfied with it. It's always going to be a work in progress for me. But, my mind feels good. My body feels good. So I'm just trying to compete every night.
Austin named second star of the week by the NHL because of 15 goals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you. What's next for him, do you think?
That's up to him. I think for him, the sky's the limit. He's a extremely special player, and we're lucky to have him.
Players to watch.
You know what, Josh? I'm going to go with Morgan Riley, not only because he just spoke, but he'll be on the ice against Drew Doughty, and that's going to be an interesting comparable.
Yeah, for sure. It certainly feels like I was reminded of today of of how Morgan Rielly was so close to becoming an all-star back in 2019, but it certainly feels like he's having one of the best seasons of his career right now, right? You can hear the confidence in his voice. But yeah, he's the kind of player, he's one of the very few defensemen I think that Sheldon Keefe has zero issues throwing over the boards shift after shift. So that'll be interesting to watch. I think I got to go with two guys here. I mean, first of all, Austin Matthews just being named second star of the month. And if the Leafs are going to try to beat down a team that has great defensive structure, why not utilize the best shooter in the league right now? But we talked about him previously. It'll be, David Kampf is a player that doesn't get a lot of attention in Toronto, a lot of love necessarily, certainly this season. But how does he respond, to being benched? The fourth line has struggled all season, right? Their underlying numbers are not great, but they're going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting against a very good Kings team tonight, so we'll see.
Totally agree with that. And since he was scratched on Saturday, he might be a defensive demon tonight. We'll see as he centers Bobby McMahon and Noah Gregor. Getting you set for the opening faceoff. This is Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
TGIT.
Don't you mean TGIF?
Nope, I mean TGIT. Because Tuesdays are 2-for-1 Tuesdays at 2-for-1 Pizza. Every Tuesday, when you order a regular price pizza from the Create Your Own menu at 2-for-1 Pizza, you get a second pizza of the same size or lesser value free.
I think Tuesday just became my new favorite day.
2-for-1 Tuesdays at 2-for-1 Pizza. Visit 2for1pizza.com.
2-for-1 Pizza.
Maple Toyota knows you love sports and trucks, so they have a deal that's a real slam dunk, a touchdown. Right now, when you purchase any new in-stock short box Toyota Tundra, you'll score big with a free genuine Toyota Trifold Hard tonneau cover. It's a win-win. Offer ends January 2nd. Make every day feel like game day. Make it easy. Make it Maple. Maple Toyota. Next to Wonderland and mapletoyota.com.
Part of the Zankin Auto Group.
Hey there, Canadian snowbirds. Planning your escape to warmer destinations? Don't forget the most essential part of your trip, travel insurance. Picture this. You're basking in the sun, sipping a pina colada, and suddenly life throws you a curveball. Medical emergency, delayed luggage, trip interruption? Don't worry. Goose Insurance has you covered. Canada's best insurance app. With Goose, you get $10 million in travel medical and get coverage for your unstable pre-existing medical condition. Download the Goose app today or visit gooseinsurance.com.
Whatever the weather, CMC Markets is here to help. Planning for a rainy day? Enjoy $0 commission on U.S. and Canadian share CFDs. Riding out the storm? Get ahead of the curve with lightning fast execution speeds. Blue skies ahead? Go with the trusted broker backed by over 30 years experience. Switch to CMC Markets and join over 275,000 global traders. Learn more at cmcmarkets.ca. FX spreads apply. CFDs involve a high degree of risk. Member Canadian Investor Protection Fund. Umbrella not included.
Well, it's 3 games in California. Tonight is an interesting battle against the stingy Kings, but LA isn't that great on home ice. Just 7-6-4. And what about the Leafs? Goalie Gate took a turn on the weekend with Samsonov clearing waivers and Hilderby getting his first taste of the NHL. Jones starts tonight, but will the Leafs be able to match the LA defensive structure? Well, let's find out. Molson Canadian Leafs hockey starts now.
It's time for Molson Canadian Leafs hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs live here.
Welcome to Molson Canadian Leafs hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. Jim Taddy and Josh Cloak from The Athletic reporting. Joe Bowen and Jimmy Ralph standing by. The starting lineup is brought to you by Molson. Whether it's Canadian Ultra Export or Excel, there's a Molson with your name on it. And the starting lineup for the Leafs goes like this. Matthews between Marner and Nyes. Tavares centering Nylander and Bertuzzi. Domi centering Yarncroke and Robertson. Camp back in the lineup centering Gregor and McMahon on the blue line. The pairings are Riley, Brody, McCabe, Simon, Benoit, and Gio and Timothy Liljegren. In the starting goaltenders, Martin Jones. He'll be wearing number 41 on the bench. What do you make of all that, Josh?
First of all, I'm quite sure it's Simone Benoit. Tap Man. I think you're a cultured man. You know about that, the French pronunciation.
Bonesy said it's Simon, so that's what I'm going with.
I when I first met him in training camp, he said, "You can call me Simon, Simone, Benny, whatever you choose." So
I mean, you know what? Why are you picking on me?
Oh, it's so late. I'm trying to do anything to stay up here. You know what sticks out to me, Tap Man, is just that. You know what sticks out to me is that it seems like Sheldon Keefe is really trying to stick with these lines here. You know, he's never been afraid to throw his lines in a blender and change things up practice to practice. But, you know, outside of Mitch Marner and William Nylander kind of being flipped, I don't think we've seen a lot of movement, at least on these forward lines, for the past few days, weeks. So it feels like he's starting to develop, Sheldon Keefe, that has developed something that he feels like he can trust, a lineup that he can trust. We'll see how, when Ryan Reeves returns from injury and he's been practicing with the team, we'll see how he factors in. But at least when you look at that kind of middle six, he's got something that he's working with, and not a lot of changes. So that's something that I'm keeping an eye on right now.
So he said you could call me Simon, and when I did, you had a problem with it. I don't understand where you're coming from.
And you're still hanging on to that, Tap Man. we got puck drop in 6 minutes here.
I know, guys. So that's why I'm hanging on to it. We got 6 minutes here. So let's get into the debate again. Obviously, they want more defense out of this set of forwards, and they want the defense to team up defensively.
Yeah.
But it's not really built that way. I don't know how, with these players, that you could be. I know you could be more defensively responsible, but not that defensive structure that you're going to see on the other side of the ice.
No, and again, this is why the conversations between Brad Treliving and Sheldon Keefe are probably heating up, right? And that's why the Leafs undoubtedly have their pro scouts, scouring the league right now. The Leafs know and Brad Treliving knows what the price is, for the kind of players that he wants. I think he's probably just waiting, week by week for that price to come down a little bit, because the prices do come down as they get closer to the trade deadline. Because I think, as we've established, you probably can't go into the playoffs with, the type of, at least the bottom four that they have on the back end. I don't think you can go in with that bottom four as assembled. I think Jake McCabe is undoubtedly in. I think Timothy Liljegren is, but I think there's other changes that will likely be made.
Okay, the opening faceoff is next. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
Congratulations to all our subscribers who took home a fantasy football title this year with the expert advice on Fantasy Sports Radio.
I want to thank you guys for making me a better fantasy player.
The winning doesn't stop there. Stick around to dominate DFS hockey and hoops, March Madness, fantasy baseball, and more. The winning never stops on Fantasy Sports Radio.
I won by 5 points thanks to your advice.
I want to help people win more than I want to win myself.
Sirius XM Channel 87 and the Sirius XM app.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio. Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
Get the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Not only is Sidney Crosby one of the greatest, probably top 5 NHL players of all time, and there's some non-hockey people in Pittsburgh that don't want to hear this, he's as good and as important as anyone who's ever played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whether you want to understand that or not, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. 24/7 hockey talk.
One of the greatest goaltenders of all time, Patrick Waugh. When you put your hands up, did you know at that moment that you were done?
No, I did not. Unfortunately, it happened. Just gave me a chance to have a fresh start somewhere else and be traded to Colorado was a good opportunity. Sometimes you need that little, change, and it was welcome for me.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91. And on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
18 months ago, I had New Flyers head coach John Tortorella. And I asked him what he was worried about the club, and he said, I don't like the room. We have a bad room. And I'm like, you haven't even coached this team yet. A year and a half later, John Tortorella loves his room. He loves this team, and he loves that they compete every night.
Points with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on SiriusXM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on SiriusXM FC 157 and streaming on the SiriusXM app.
Under review.
And if someone says, well, he's good in the room, you know what? They don't have a good in the room stat in the standings. I've yet to find that category. It's one of the most overplayed things. They better be good in the room. That's the least you better bring when you join a National Hockey League team.
Under review with Mick Kerr. 11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
The Maple Leafs embark on a 3-game California road trip as they take their struggling defensive problems out to the West Coast to see if they can find an answer. It'll be Martin Jones in goal for Toronto tonight. He is 4-3-0 with a 2.73 goals against average and a very respectable .915 save percentage. Cam Talbot gets the call for the Los Angeles Kings. He's 14-7-3, 2.10 and a .924 save percentage on a team that is the best in the National Hockey League defensively as the Leafs get on their way wearing, they got the black dark jerseys on. Not my favorites, I got to admit. Here's Matthews getting in front, and it was knocked away by Talbot at the last second. Leafs in the offensive zone with Marner, a shot. Juggled. Talbot is able to take it off his chest and is able to cover up on it and hold for a face-off. Much has happened since we last talked to you, and that is the dismissal of Ilya Samsonov through waivers. Now a week to kind of retool, regroup, and then some time with the Toronto Marlies to try to get his game back to where it has been in the past. And we will be anxious to see how that all works out as the draw controlled by Los Angeles and brought out at center ice and now flipped in now by Fila. Long shot deflects in front of the goal, knocked away by the pad of Jones, and the Leafs will get it out into the center ice area. One-handed in over the line for Nylander. Nylander kicks it in along the boards, then got flattened in the corner. He's back on his skates along with Tavares as Matt Roy stepped into the Leaf winger. And now here are the Kings getting in over the line with Trevor Moore trying to center. It goes around back of the net to the near side. Dano playing it around to the far corner. Again, there's Fiala trying to play it back to the point. Intercepted, and the Leafs are going to get it out into the center ice area. And a long shoot-in will be gloved and held by Talbot. And so a face-off is going to come in the Los Angeles end.
Well, we will see with Ilya Samsonov. And, you know, I think you and I have discussed it on the air enough that it's not like he doesn't know. It's not like he's making excuses. He's admitted that he's lost it. We talked about the comparison to Jack Campbell in Edmonton. And, you know, you hope he can find it, whether it's in Toronto or somebody else to salvage his career.
Played out into the center ice area now by the Kings to the left wing side for Grundstrom. Couldn't get a shot away. The Leafs bank it off the boards and out at center ice, but are unable to get it in as Domi couldn't reach it. Back come the Kings to get it down into Toronto territory. Chipped along the boards. It comes out into the slot area, and a shot went off a leg and went wide of the net off the stick of Andreas Englund. Back of the net, a centering pass goes off his skate, but the Kings retrieve it nicely along the boards. Dubois trying to get it into the slot. Leafs chip it to an open wing, but the defense gets there, and Jordan Spence sends it around back of the Toronto goal. Now the Leafs with some time and space as the Kings are changing. Get it out over the line, but not much further. Brought right back in again. Dubois in and tried to get a shot away, and it went wide. Kings into the forecheck as it comes back to the point. Long shot taken by Doughty was deflected wide of the net. Down the boards comes Mikey Anderson to get it around back of the net. And up against the end boards now. The Leafs are able to get it free, but don't get it out. Anderson again. Now back to the blue line. Filling in there's Lizotte. Over on the far side, Doughty would have passed down into the corner. Lizotte goes down around to the side of the net, curls back into the corner. Back to the point. Near side for Doughty, trying to take it off his skate. Is able to control it enough to get into the slot. Can't get a shot away, though. Off on the wing, Anderson sends it back into the corner. Good cycling done here by the LA Kings. And then it is poked out at center ice by Toronto. And a fresher set of legs would have been away to the races, but the Leafs had been hemmed in for so long. It was just get it out and get off.
And it was Nick Robertson that was able to chip it out. It was his turnover that started that old Hornets nest in the Leaf zone.
Shot down into the King zone. Out of the net is Talbot to sweep it into the corner. Leafs after it again. Now played by David Camp, who's back into the lineup after being chastised somewhat by the coach and then a healthy scratch the other night. Played into the center ice area. And the Leafs have to go back to their own blue line to come away with it. Brought down the left wing boards. Marner in front of the net. Unable to get a pass out to him, though, was Matthews. Played back to the point. McCabe sweeps it back into the far corner. Matthews and Marner after it there. The puck comes free, and it's played around back of the net by the Kings to Matt Roy. Played back the other side, and the Leafs are there. Centering pass, and a shot by Matthews was blockered away with the glove by Cam Talbot. Another shot deflected just wide as Marner was in there. Centering pass, Matthews again, and he wired it high over top of the goal. Both teams taking opportunities to hem the other in their defensive zone and come away with some decent scoring chances. Matthews, looking for his 30th goal of the season, wired it over the net.
The Matthews line had a great start, opening shift off the opening faceoff, and generated some scoring opportunities. And maybe the best one here, Matthews doesn't hit the net on, as it went back into the high slot, even though Los Angeles had great offensive pressure in the Leaf zone. They only managed one shot. Leafs out shooting them 4-1.
Played into the slot area, but knocked away. Bertuzzi couldn't keep it in. It's back into the center ice area. And the Leafs will bring it right back to the line with Nylander into the slot. Shot in, blocked away by Talbot. Comes back to the point. Here's Brody letting a shot go into the chest of Talbot and held for a faceoff. Austin Matthews, 29 goals in 33 games. In the 2013-14 season, Alex Ovechkin hit the 30-goal mark in 34 games. So Austin Matthews trying to equal that little bit of statistical irony.
We've got to enjoy it more, don't we? I mean, as a collective whole, from Leaf fans to media. I mean, we sit back and marvel at Wayne Gretzky and Alexander Ovechkin, and you're starting to see Austin Matthews. Maybe not Gretzky like going to hit the 92-goal mark, but
certainly with all of his peers from, the not-so-distant future. Ovechkin, Crosby, a shot here is blocked before it reached the front of the net. Kings get it to the center ice red line, and Danault will flip it down into the Toronto zone. Brody against the wall. That draws a crowd. Puck up on the wing is going to be flipped out at center ice off a stick, and so icing waved off and is rolling into the non-trapezoidal area, so Cam Talbot couldn't go out and play it. Doesn't matter. The Kings are going to be able to get it out and get it to the Leaf blue line. Into the slot area now for Trevor Moore. Broken up by Toronto and pushed ahead. One man back and Marner in over the line. A little dipsy doodle and a looking pass in front of the net. And unable to catch up to it there was Mark Giordano. Leaf player gets cross-checked in front of the net. That was, or into the corner. That was Matthews, who got dumped there by Englund. Now the Kings get it out into the center ice area. Leafs bring it right back in again. Into the corner now, and a shot off the side of the net. Stop there as Nyes couldn't come up with the rebound. Matthews with another shot on goal, and that's going to, of course, now he's had about 3, extend that record of 95 consecutive games that he's had at least a shot on goal in the contest. And it's usually a great deal more than just one. Played off the boards and out into the center ice area by Los Angeles. Kings get it in over the line. Big hit there as Dubois goes down into the corner. Tied up along the boards by Benoit. Kicked by Benoit into the corner. Lewis gets after it there with Domi, but now McCabe finds his defense partner, and then McCabe got filled in on a forechecking hit, and Domi will play it to the line and in, but it doesn't connect for Robertson. Leafs are going to get a stick on it and chip it in a little deeper, and then change is coming, and McCabe bent over a little bit after taking that hit in the defensive zone. Gavrikov for the Kings, sending it down into the Leaf end. The LA Kings have a record of 28-5, 45 points. But on home ice, they're just 7-6-4. Brody up on the right wing. Launches it high into the near corner. Back of the net goes Matt Roy to play it up on the boards. Intercepted by Toronto, but they can't get anything done down low. And the puck is out at center ice again. Quickly shot back in again by Matthews. By McMahon. Up on the left wing now for Kopitar. Kopitar will drop it back. Fired in by Gavrikov. Bouncing puck that Liljegren has difficulty with. Down into the corner. Tying his man up there was Giordano. The puck comes out in front. The Leafs are able to pull away with it. And Liljegren skates it into the offensive zone with a high shot that is gloved by Talbot going over top of the net. And he will stop play. The Leafs nothing and the Los Angeles Kings nothing. The game at the Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles, California. And you're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Quiet your mind, reduce your stress, and rest easy with channels designed to help you fall asleep easier and faster. In the SiriusXM app, sink into the comforting white noise of the storm shower on Rainfall Radio. Fade out to the soothing sounds of the Sleep Channel, or drift off to the nature sounds with Forest Dreams. Find them all in the SiriusXM app, included with all trials and popular plans. Just search Sleep.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio. Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
Get the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey, NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Hey Toronto, I'm David Morsuti, host of the daily Toronto Maple Leafs podcast, Locked On Leafs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network on the SiriusXM app. Every weekday, we bring you the latest Leafs news and analysis, break down all the action, including this game you're listening to right now, and preview the next one. We're giving you everything a Leafs fan could want, all in a daily 30-minute podcast. Download Locked On Leafs right now on the SiriusXM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or where you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Leafs.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, scores!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Dennis Hildeby, the Hildebeest, is the backup goaltender for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He is replacing Ilya Samsonov. And the speculation is that with back-to-back games, he may get his NHL debut tomorrow in Anaheim. However, since there's not a lot of a flight between LA and Anaheim and not a lot of travel involved, playing back-to-back games for a goaltender probably isn't that bad. So a decision is yet to be made, or at least announced. The decision has probably been made.
Yeah,
it just hasn't been announced.
You got to play it.
I agree. I agree.
Play.
Absolutely.
In fact, we were talking about this before, and I know before Ilya Samsonov came down, you said if he's going to play again on this trip, Samsonov. Play him in L.A. Don't try to protect him by playing him in San Jose or Anaheim. And I kind of thought the same thing with Hildeby. Throw him in against the Kings.
Lifted high to center ice, forcing the Leafs back into their own zone. Brody got knocked down. A centering pass in front. Oh, and a good save. Coming across was Martin Jones, his best save of the game. He read that extremely well as a centering pass, and he came out very smartly to take it away. Leafs get it up and out at center ice. Slid into the far corner by Marner. Round back of the net, played into the near corner. Marner trying to center in front of the goal, looking for Matthews. Nice back of the goal, trying to chip it along the board. Centering pass. Matthews gets it back to the point, and a shot taken by McCabe was blocked, and then Matthews fanned on an attempt. McCabe has to go back into his own zone to settle down a loose puck. 11:23 to play first period. There's no score. Launched around the boards to the far side. Chipped back at the net. One would think that this would be a low-scoring game with the way the Kings have played all season long. As it is pushed out into neutral ice now, and Grundstrom trying to get ahead. Ran into a hit there from Simon Benoit. And around back of the goal, it comes up on the wing, and the Leafs get it ahead to Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi works to the line, chips it by the defense. That allows Tavares to attack into the corner. That's drawn a crowd in along the boards. Nylander couldn't come out with it. And now here are the Kings getting it out into the center ice area. Brought in over the line, though, by Laferriere. That'll be, him. Play back out at center.
There's a Lafreniere.
Well, there's a lot of laughs in the league. We'll just call him Laugh.
Sam Lafferty?
Yeah. Oh, now there you go. Now we're in trouble. Launched high into the zone. Here are the Kings trying to chip it back out at center, and they do. Down back of the net, cleared by Jones into the corner. Riley mishandled it. The puck goes off the skate up into the air. Kings control it. Down into the corner, bounced high off the glass, and it's going to go into the crowd and out of play. And a face-off coming in the Toronto zone.
The reason I remember that is Peterborough Pete's had a great goaltender by the name of Rick Laferriere.
Yes.
Drafted by Colorado.
I remember him.
I hope they pronounce it the same.
We're going to find out.
Yeah.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the first time on the ice to the best game of their life, Esso is proud to support Canadian hockey at every level. Starting with minor hockey, where Esso medals cheer on the achievements of players to take them far on their hockey journeys. Esso medals participants have represented our country on Team Canada, and we're proud to support them on their quest for greatness. Learn more about Esso medals at essomedals.com.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
TGIT.
Don't you mean TGIF?
Nope, I mean TGIT. Because Tuesdays are 2-for-1 Tuesdays at 2-for-1 Pizza. Every Tuesday, when you order a regular price pizza from the Create Your Own menu at 2-for-1 Pizza, you get a second pizza of the same size or lesser value free.
I think Tuesday just became my new favorite day.
2-for-1 Tuesdays at 2-for-1 Pizza. Visit 2for1pizza.com.
2-for-1 Pizza.
If you're watching the game tonight, don't adjust your television sets. It's not in black and white, although it is in black and white, because the Leafs are wearing black jerseys and the LA Kings are wearing white jerseys.
With black trim.
With black trim. So there's really, they could have saved a lot of money by just doing it in black and white tonight and forgot about the color cameras and everything.
Do they have just black and white cameras anymore?
I doubt it.
It's got to be a button you could press.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. There's got to be something that does that. Kings keep the puck in the Leaf zone, then played off the boards high to center ice to McMahon. He gets it up on the wing, and a shot there went wide of the net by David Camp. Down into the corner. Camp getting it around back of the net. Tried to spear it away there from Lizotte. Then knocked down on the play as it comes to the blue line. Nicely played by Gregor. In on the wing. Got a shot away and a rebound. Was chipped wide of the net by Camp. Fourth line doing a nice job down in the offensive zone. And hemming the Kings in as it's backhanded high by Lizotte just to get it out at center ice. 9:13 to play, first period. Game looking for its opening goal as it's back down into the Toronto end. Benoit plays it high into the center ice area. And it's going to be an icing call here. And you know what? I'm old enough to remember black and white TV. And I'll tell you one of the great things that I saw the first time when my dad took me to Maple Leaf Garden. The color. The color of the seats. The color of the building.
So, and I'm not being smart. You saw your first game live before color TV.
Oh yes. Yeah. Oh, not in it. Oh, the first game I saw on TV was black and white. Yes.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Shot from the blue line, kicked away there by Martin Jones, and the Leafs get it out. So when we got to Toronto and actually got to go into the building and see the color, you went, wow, that is really neat. The reds and the greens and the gold seats. Oh, yeah, that was special. Played up on the wing.
And the TV lights.
Well, yes, yep. Although I don't know when I got there whether those TV lights, I think they sort of came in when color was brought into the picture. I'm talking the 60s here, Mr. Rowell. Up on the right side, it goes to Marner. He's going to flip it in. Matthews goes into the forecheck against Kopitar. That'll be a matchup that the Kings want to have. Kopitar, one of the better defensive forwards in the National Hockey League, as it's launched high and down into the Toronto end. Leafs push it up on the left wing, deflect down into the corner. Talbot out of the goal to play it around on the board. The centering pass. Talbot had to scoot back into the goal crease. Just kept in by Liljegren. It's going around back of the net. Trying to come out with it is Nyes. It plays it back, or Bertuzzi, who plays it back behind the goal. Tavares couldn't come up with it. And now the Kings are able to skate it out at center. Down the right wing comes Trevor Moore. Got it into the slot. The shot was blocked before it reached Jones's cage, and now it comes back to the point, rolling to the blue line, and it's poked out at center. Brought in over the line by Nylander, and his high drive went over top of the net and off the glass. May have been deflected as he was trying to break down the left wing, and the LA defender was just getting back into position. Moore now brings it into the Toronto zone with a drive from the point that was off the mark wide. Kept alive by Gavrikov. Sent in around back of the net to the far side. Trevor Moore is there. Played it back behind the net. That's too well covered then by Benoit. But out of that scrum comes Fiala. He goes down in a heap, and a penalty is coming here to Toronto.
They're calling this a cross-check. And I don't think Max Domi has any clue that he has just taken a penalty. Oh boy, this is
a little light. Toronto, number 11, 2 minutes cross-check.
Well, you're going to take a look at the Los Angeles Kings power play that comes in 7th overall in the NHL. Leafs are 4th, but they are 19 for 32. Or pardon me. Got the wrong team out there. 20th overall.
Yep.
1 for 4 in their last game against Edmonton, but 1 for 17 overall in their last 5.
Their penalty kill has been outstanding. It's best in the National Hockey League. So with 6:48 to go in the first period, the Leafs face the first penalty kill situation. Camp won the draw, but no one could help him out by clearing it from the scrum that he had managed to get. Now Marner is able to skate it out at center. He's bringing it in over the line, got into the slot, got a shot away, and it deflected wide. Now he's trying to play it back to the blue line and out, and Brody will go D to D to Giordano. Giordano stretches things out, tried to play it in, That was blocked and sent back in on a delayed offside.
I thought it was too many men on the ice.
Well, fortunately, you were wrong again.
Somebody might have gone off at
the other door.
The other door. There was somebody still about 15 feet from the bench when a
and you're talking about the guys in the black jerseys?
Yes.
Okay. Leafs get it airmailed out and down the ice.
1:05 to go in this LA power play.
Veteran Drew Doughty starting out of his own zone. Drops it off the boards. Brought forward now by Danault. Philip Danault to the left wing side. Dropped it back. Kept alive there at the point by Moore. Moore to the far side. Gets it returned. Trying to flip it into the slot area. Comes back to the point. It's Spence holding it. Played off on the wing, and the one-timer is drilled wide, and it caroms off the boards and goes all the way out and down the ice. 35 seconds left in the power play, 5:20, and a scoreless first period. Puck is dropped again and now brought on through center. Moore gets it into the Leaf zone, but it's turned away again and shot down the ice. Spence will try it again. Jordan Spence up on the left wing. Danault got it across the line. Broken up once more. Backhanded down the ice again by David Camp. And the penalty is going to expire without any damage being done. Leafs penalty kill this year, 23rd in the league. 77.7%. Sharp angle shot. Stopped there on the short side by Martin Jones. And the Leafs get it out at center. Jones is 22-8-3 against LA in his career. So this rink is rather familiar to him, which is another reason probably why he has started this game.
First two seasons in the NHL, played 34 games as a member of the Kings, won a Stanley Cup his rookie season.
Down in along the boards, out come the Kings to center. Weaving in on the right side is Quinton Byfield, the Newmarket native, plays it down into the corner. It comes around back of the net, and it is Matthews getting it off into the corner, and now Benoit plays it off the near boards to get it to center. Bertuzzi chipped it high in the air. Kings have it under control, and Byfield sends it off on the far side for Kopitar. Kopitar dropping it back. Bertuzzi unable to intercept. Here's Kopitar hitting the line and in. Got a shot away. That one off a leg. A bouncing puck went high in the air. Cleared back to the blue line, but it's coming out into the center ice zone, and Tavares is in pursuit but can't get it ahead of Kevin Fiala. Now Kopitar unable to make a play. Bertuzzi chips it in deep. Tavares went in there after it. Played up on the boards. Liljegren unable to keep it in. And now the Kings will shoot it into the Leaf zone. Jones out of the net. Chips it around on the boards to his winger. Flipped out at center ice, and the Leafs are breaking at center. Matthews going hard to the front of the net. And it's knocked around back of the net. Trying to come out with it now, and a shot. That went off a leg as McMahon got a shot away. And now here's the play back in on the right side. Knocked down on the play was McMahon, and I think the fourth line has just drawn a penalty.
And I think is just as weak as the Max Domi cross-check. And this is, I mean, at least, if anything else, be consistent. Right? And the official has Leafs to go to their first power play of the night.
Two cross-checking calls, and the Leafs to the power play. And the power play brought to you by your Ontario Subaru dealers. Get more value out of every kilometer in a Subaru, starting with award-winning safety at your local Subaru dealer. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Congratulations to all our subscribers who took home a fantasy football title this year with the expert advice on Fantasy Sports Radio.
I want to thank you guys for making me a better fantasy player.
The winning doesn't stop there. Stick around to dominate DFS hockey and hoops, March Madness, fantasy baseball, and more. The winning never stops on Fantasy Sports Radio.
I won by 5 points thanks to your advice.
I want to help people win more than I want to win myself.
Sirius XM Channel 87 and the Sirius XM app.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio. Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa.
What's up, Leafs fans? Another awesome night here on TSI. Thank you to each and every one of you for for hanging out with us. Please don't forget to hit that like button, as it helps bring more Leafs fans into the chat. The more the better. A big shout out to our insiders and VIP members. Your support is truly appreciated. I cannot explain to you what it means for this community. Please consider joining our community. It's only 99 cents a month. I made it as low as possible so that we can get more and more people joining our community. Awesome member exclusive emojis in the chat during these Leafs games, and add your name to the scroll down below. Anyways, enough of the necessary evils to keep growing this amazing Toronto sports community and Maple Leafs community. Back to Leafs hockey. Go Leafs go. I'll see you guys in the chat. Peace.
The SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
Leafs to the power play. Owen Hall and Matt Cardadero trying to run the operation here for us at the studios as the Leafs go to their first opportunity with the man advantage. Comes back to Morgan Rielly, doesn't shoot it. Off to Marner, he'll let it go. That went off a stick, and high stick making contact? Nope. So maybe it was, but it was a King's stick. So when the Leafs pick it up, play continues. Marner coming through center ice. Works to the line, dropped it off for Matthews. A nice little bit of stick work there to get it in over the line to Nylander. Spun back now to Morgan Rielly. Rielly walks the line to the left wing side, back to Nylander, closing! And he shot it and then went high over top of the net. Nylander unable to keep it in. It pokes its way to center. And Rielly will try to stretch things out before sending it back in off a stick. Apparently not. Didn't hit the stick. Turns into an icing. And it'll come back. Want to send along our very best to a good friend of ours, Dennis Bayak, who today on TSN did his very last game. I sent him a note and said, not often you can retire twice. But he is, after retiring from the Winnipeg Jets, did his last game at the World Juniors this year.
Yeah, I sent him a similar note. He said, "That's who am I to talk?" He said, "You retired 4 times." Once by choice.
Well, that's different, though, isn't it? Yes. When somebody retires you for you, that doesn't count. But all of the best to him. Puck rolls to the side of the goal, and Talbot is going to swallow that up and bring a face-off with 57 seconds left to go in the power play for the Maple Leafs. 1:46 left in the period, still no score.
Kings come into the game. You mentioned their home record, 7-6-4, not great. Overall, they're 20 wins, 8 losses, 5 overtime losses. Big part of that record was the first 11 road games of the season for the Kings, including the game in Toronto. All wins, which was an NHL record. Surpassed the Buffalo Sabres in the early 2000s.
Loose puck along the boards, controlled by Toronto. Spun back by Robertson. Here's Domi closing. Got a shot away, but it was deflected off the stick of Mickey Anderson. Up into the screen, out of play. 44 seconds left in the second unit on here for Toronto on the power play.
The Leafs at one point rose shooting the LA Kings 7-1. And that last shot that Cam Talbot was able to hold on to makes it 10-6 Toronto.
Draw one by Los Angeles, and the Kings are going to launch it high out and down the ice. 36 seconds left to go in the power play as Liljegren starts up ice. He's going to drop it off. Stationary target, but now Domi is able to come to center, dropping it off on the left wing for Yarncrook. He played it around back of the net. That's drawn a crowd up against the boards with Anderson. It comes along the wall for Kempe. He can't get it out. Robertson down into the corner. Domi creeping out in front. Got it out in front. A loose puck, and it's knocked out and down the ice by the Kings. Max was stick handling with it, trying to get closer, and then mishandled it. And by mishandling it, he started a pretty good scoring opportunity. Here the Leafs getting it back into the slot. But it was intercepted. The penalty is over. Trevor Moore gets it out at center. Lost his glove. Had to stop to regain that. And bumps into his man, and the puck is back in the Toronto zone. Brought forward. McCabe trying to get it in over the line. Has it at center. Now the battle ensues with David Camp getting it launched in, and It'll be McMahon going in to do some forechecking here. Noah Gregor, the other line mate, on here for Toronto. 10 seconds left to go in the period. A hit on the boards frees the puck up for McCabe. He's just going to get it airmailed to center, and that should do it. In fact, it does, because I just heard the siren, which I believe ended the first period. 0-0.
That did it.
Yes, it
By
did.
the way, I think when you go back to the last game they lost against Carolina, you already mentioned the benching of David Camp in that game. Probably the worst case scenario for Sheldon Keefe. You're going to bench your fourth line center, who's one of your best penalty killers, and you give up 2 goals in the power play and lose by a goal.
And 2 for 4. So 500 on the penalty kill. You're right. At any rate, Jim Taddy and Josh are along, and we will send it off to our first period intermission. No scoring in the first 20. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Green Day bring 3 decades of punk energy and exploration to their very own SiriusXM channel.
Green Day Radio.
The stories behind their biggest songs. A personal intro to some brand new sounds. Now,
Channel 107. And on the SiriusXM app.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio. Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
Get the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey, NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Not only is Sidney Crosby one of the greatest, probably top 5 NHL players of all time, and there's some non-hockey people in Pittsburgh that don't want to hear this, he's as good and as important as anyone who's ever played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whether you want to understand that or not, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. 24/7 hockey talk.
One of the greatest goaltenders of all time. Patrick Waugh, when you put your hands up, did you know at that moment that you were done?
No, I did not. Unfortunately, it happened. Just gave me a chance to have a fresh start somewhere else and be traded to Colorado was a good opportunity. Sometimes you need that little, change, and it was welcome for me.
SiriusXM, NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
18 months ago, I had new Flyers head coach John Tortorella. And I asked him what he was worried about the club, and he said, I don't like the room. We have a bad room. And I'm like, you haven't even coached this team yet. A year and a half later, John Tortorella loves his room. He loves this team, and he loves that they compete every night.
Point with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on SiriusXM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland! Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on SiriusXM FC 157 and streaming on the SiriusXM app.
Under review.
And if someone says, well, he's good in the room, you know what? They don't have a good in the room stat in the standings. I've yet to find that category. It's one of the most overplayed things. They better be good in the room. That's the least you better bring when you join a National Hockey League team.
Under review with Mick Kern, 11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
Hockey is on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs live here.
And it's scoreless after 20 minutes of play. TSN After 20 is brought to you by your Ontario Subaru dealers. Hurry to your local Subaru dealer. Get more out of every kilometer this fall, including more karaoke. Jim Taddy and Josh Cloak from The Athletic with you to summarize, to analyze, to critique the opening 20 minutes scoreless. But the Leafs took the play to the Kings, didn't they?
Yeah, I guess in terms of critiquing, not a ton to critique for the Leafs that period. I thought they came out with a really, really, really good start. And this is still a Leafs team that has struggled to, quote unquote, start on time throughout this season. But to come out and just, I believe that the shots were 9-2 at some point midway through the period. This is a Leafs team that we thought was going to struggle at times against the Kings' defensive structure. But they fought through it really, really well, played with energy, attacked the net. And to start a road trip, that's really all you can ask for, right?
Yeah, absolutely. 11-6, they outshot them by the end of the period. The guy that I noticed was Liljegren. I just find that he gets better by the game. Coming back from that high ankle sprain, you could see him sort of ease into what he's capable of and raise his own bar.
Well, he thrives in Sheldon Keefe's system, which allows defensemen to not only join the rush, but then take the puck deep, provided that one of the forwards can then move back to the blue line and cover for him. And, that's something that the Leafs struggled with when Sheldon Keefe first took over. I can remember a few games, back in the days of Tyson Barrie, when, Barrie would move deep and there wouldn't be a forward who would understand his assignment to move up to the blue line. So in terms of structure, I think Timothy Liljegren, the more that he feels confident taking the puck deep in the offensive zone, the more confident he's going to feel with his defensive game as well. But I just like how well he reads the ice. There was a few really great give and goes with his teammates where he was, able to cut through that Kings defensive structure quite quickly. And you want players like that can kind of keep the opposition on their toes. And yeah, Liljegren, moving off that game against Carolina where he had the goal, showed off his shot, you can tell the confidence is growing there.
Any concern, like the Leafs controlled a lot of the play in the King zone, and so they had 11 shots on goal, another 16 that were either blocked or didn't get through. The Kings had 6 on goal and another 9 that didn't get through. It's great to control that, and I'm not being critical for an opening period, but sooner or later you got to get on the board, right?
For sure, but what you're doing here is you're playing end-to-end hockey, so those chances are certainly going to come. I thought Martin Jones played really well, and Martin Jones looked aggressive. It's not something you see as much from goaltenders these days, but that was always the book on Martin Jones, that he wasn't afraid to come out of the blue paint, and I thought he looked really good. But no, I think if you're Sheldon Keefe, you probably want your team to kind of get out of the locker room as quickly as possible after the intermission so you can keep that energy going. There were a number of opportunities where the likes of Marner and Nylander found themselves either one-on-one against defensemen close to the goal. Max Domi had a really good chance close to goal. He kind of fumbled a little bit, with the puck. So I think those chances are going to continue. But again, if you can keep the Kings off the board, if you can kill a penalty, you're in a good spot heading into the second period.
Well, and I was mentioning Liljegren earlier, but I should mention Gio, too. Nice to have the veteran back. He looks really good out there.
He's going to be a player that I think a lot of people will circle as the deadline gets closer. Because, again, we're talking about TJ Brodie, Morgan Rielly, Jake McCabe. Those are immovables, and I think we should probably include Timothy Liljegren in there as immovables on the blue line for the playoffs. The plan for Mark Giordano was to not play as much this season, so he would be better prepared for the playoffs after that long layoff due to injury. He's going to be playing a lot more to kind of get back up to speed. I don't know where it leaves him come the playoffs. You do like the veteran experience. You like how calm and stable things are generally when he's on the ice. But at 40, you can make an argument that maybe you want someone with a little more energy in their game come playoff time.
Let me ask you about Hildeby, just because it's the question that nobody wants to answer. When does he play? And I think, once they get through tonight's game and they see how much wear and tear there was on Martin Jones, they sort of live day to day this thing. But at some point, you've got 3 games on the West Coast. I know that tonight and tomorrow night, and then Saturday at San Jose, and then Tuesday back here against San Jose. But at some point, you don't want to risk injury to the one bona fide NHL goalie that you have.
Well, and Sheldon Keefe, he was very quick to kind of pour cold water on the notion that Dennis Hildeby would certainly play a game, in California, even though it lines up pretty well for him to play Anaheim, a team that, has been struggling this season. Look, I didn't think the Leafs, and I don't think the Leafs wanted to bring up Dennis Hildeby. I just felt that they absolutely had to. I think if they had their way, he'd be playing in the American League all season and developing there. But if you're going to bring up a goalie, this is kind of a good problem to have in a way, because you've got a goaltender that's 6'7", which would make him one of the tallest goaltenders in the NHL. So he just naturally fills the net. And you also are bringing up a goaltender who, despite his age at 22, is remarkably mature, level-headed, composed. The Leafs like that. Sheldon Keefe likes that. I was talking to Matthew Nyes about Dennis Hildeby and what it was like to face him in practice and training camp. He literally said, you can't see the white behind the net. He's like, you literally, when you're coming down to get a shot on him, you almost have to, you almost take a split second to try and get Hildeby to move. And if he doesn't, you're stuck. So if Hildeby, if he does play, if he can just play kind of calm and composed in the net and force shooters to kind of question themselves and how do they get around his 6'7" frame, he could be in a good spot.
A lot of anticipation to see what he looks like in the NHL, and sooner or later that's going to happen, and likely in the next couple of days, but longer looks as the years go on. Scoreless Leafs and Kings after 20 minutes of play. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Alpine News Network is here live with one of our superheroes.
People often ask me how fast I am. Oh, 1 sec. I just went to Bali and back. I'm also fast when it comes to helping people. Like when I helped Bill. His company vehicles were being serviced, and I was able to help him with a business loan. He got the transport trucks they needed, and I got to honk the horn. All of them.
Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved. Just for license 12616.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
When you vacation with Norwegian Cruise Line, every day is a new day. Get a taste for Barcelona, then savor incredible dining back on board one day. Connect to ancient history in Athens, and then disconnect in our spa another day. Wherever the sea breeze takes you, come aboard and experience a different tomorrow with Norwegian. Visit ncl.com, call your travel advisor, or 1-888-NCL-CRUISE. Norwegian Cruise Line. Ships registry the Bahamas and USA.
The rest of my life gonna start today.
Time is running out. The $100 ultimate draw date is January 4th. With odds of 1 in 25,000, OLG's $100 ultimate ticket is your best chance to win $1 million. But you'll have to act fast. So grab your $100 ultimate ticket now, in store, before it's gone.
Odds of winning the $1 million top prize are approximately 1 in 25,000. The most favorable odds for a prize of this value offered by OLG. At the time of purchase, some prizes may have already been claimed. Must be 18 plus years of age at the time of purchase to play.
90% of people who need something done by a lawyer make this confusing mistake. They start by looking for a lawyer. Start smarter. Search directly for what you need done at Vexit.com. Through their online legal and accounting marketplace, you'll find everything from incorporating a business to marital agreements. Access over 100 services. The best part? No nonsense, fixed prices stated up front. Go to Vexit.com and find the right professional. That's VEXXIT.com.
At Train West Online Academy, we have a sales training and development program that addresses all areas necessary for your success. Learning, developing, and mastering new skills and behaviors takes time, practice, and guidance. That's exactly what you'll get from our sales training program. Our training is built on the concept of incremental growth and change over time, supported by repetition, reinforcement, and coaching. If you're deadly serious about improving your skills, go to trainwest.ca to learn more. trainwest.ca.
The Out-of-Town Scoreboard is brought to you by Maple Toyota. Build your next dream Toyota at Maple Toyota and check out Maple Toyota's pre-owned inventory arriving daily. Guy, it's time to Toyota. Visit mapletoyota.com. Here's what we have. In the third period, Panthers 2-1 over the Coyotes. Also in the third, Oilers 5-2 over the Flyers. Likewise in the third, Islanders and Avs tied at 4. In the second, Canucks 5-1 over the Senators. In the first period, it's now over in San Jose. Wings and Sharks tied at 1. Boston defeated Columbus 4-1. Canes got by the Rangers 6-1. Capitals 4-3 over the Penguins. Montreal got by the Stars 4-3. Calgary 3-1 over the Wild. And the Blackhawks were shut out by Nashville 3-0. Jets got by the Lightning by a score of 4-2. Busy night in the NHL. This is Bolson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
It's Week 18 in the NFL. Playoff spots are on the line, and there's only one place for all the action.
Touchdown! Josh Allen, the beast, has been released!
And that's the Sunday Drive. This is Bill Eckes. Join Steve Torrey and me at noon Eastern for live listen-ins, guests, playoff implications, and coaching news around the NFL.
You know, it's a playoff atmosphere, a really good team.
Spend Week 18 with the Sunday Drive at noon Eastern on NFL Radio Channel 88 and on the SiriusXM app.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio. Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
Get the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey, NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Not only is Sidney Crosby one of the greatest, probably top 5 NHL players of all time, and there's some non-hockey people in Pittsburgh that don't want to hear this, he's as good and as important as anyone who's ever played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whether you want to understand that or not, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on SiriusXM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland! Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best! What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on SiriusXM FC 157 and streaming on the SiriusXM app.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, scores!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Leafs and the LA Kings are scoreless after a period. 11 shots for the Maple Leafs and 6 for the Los Angeles Kings. And one other thing I suppose we should mention, this is a bit of an anniversary. And you might think of it as an anniversary of a new cornerstone as far as this franchise, the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I went through the Ballard years and all of that, where there really wasn't much hope. They had a lot of young kids that obviously went on to be pretty good plays.
I was in the system in that era.
Which was one of the reasons why there was very little hope.
That's why I brought it up, yes.
But the trade that Cliff Fletcher made on this day in 1992 that triggered the arrival of Doug Gilmour to Toronto really is a bit of a cornerstone in my mind of a franchise all of a sudden now trying to win. Hasn't happened, but it hasn't been for the lack of money or the lack of trying, whereas before there was really no hope. As we're underway with the start of the second period, the Leafs to our right and the Kings to the left, and it's played out at center ice. That guy Gilmour had a couple of really good years here, you know. Kings bring it in, get a shot away that's deflected and gone up into the screen, out of play. Leafs with 27 shot attempts, Kings with 15.
Well, we wonder if another ex-Calgary Flames general manager might have a big deal up his sleeve. Little harder to do those multiplayer deals now.
Yeah.
Salary caps.
Too many variables now.
And
But, I mean, that was an enormous trade.
Yeah.
Enormous. I mean, just in the number of bodies that were involved in it.
Gary Lehman, the big name, going the other way.
Yeah. 50-goal scorer with the Maple Leafs. Sent down into the King zone. Around on the boards. Pass intercepted. Nylander trying to backhand it in front, but it was intercepted before it reached the Toronto player. Leafs are able to keep it in again, but it's punched out at center ice now by Los Angeles and brought in over the line. Missing the hit there was Benoit. Pass in front, knocked away by Jones and into the corner. He missed Kevin Fiala with a bit of a hip check. Back to the point, Matt Roy with a shot that was blocked. And the Maple Leafs start out at center with a pass ahead. Brought in over the line, looking on the left wing for Bertuzzi. And again, the shot ends up going high. I don't know if Talbot got a piece of that or not. But it went over top of the net. Leafs with it again, backhanding it in as Domi around back of the net. Bertuzzi trying to free it up. Domi sifting around out in front, but the pass goes to the right wing corner. Now sent in on goal, and it is gloved by Talbot and held for a face-off in the Los Angeles zone.
Now Jonathan Quick left the LA Kings the trade deadline last year, and they went out and got, in the offseason, Cam Talbot. Talbot is now 36 years of age. He'll be 37 this year. So, I mean, it was a signing at the time that you thought, okay, it gives him a little bit of depth and goal. Cam Talbot has put up some great numbers. 2.10 goals against average, 924 save percentage. Most he's given up in a single game this year is 4. Done it 4 times. But that has been it. That's why they are number 1 in goals against in the National Hockey League.
No. The Maple Leafs, 2 goals or less a year ago, 42 times. They were 5th best. They've only had 9 thus far. And a shot deflects wide of the Leaf goal as it comes down into the Toronto zone. Backhanded in front of the net, and that was swept at, but missed by LaFerriere. Back to the point once more, kept in by the Kings. Shot deflects into the far corner. Grundstrom trying to play it off. It comes back to the point, near side for Spence. Spence back into the slot. One of the Leafs is without a stick as it's broken. Back into the corner. That is Yarncrook. And now here is Spence trying to take advantage of it. Leafs intercept and get the puck to the line, but don't get it out. Liljegren had a chance to clear, but he set it up on the same spot where Yarncrook was, but without a stick. Camp has come over the boards with a stick, which is good, and it's brought to center ice by Toronto. Domi in on the right side, going right in! Oh, and that was just off the mark, as Talbot may have got his blocking glove on it.
Boy, the Leafs' best chance is Domi and Bertuzzi both here in the second period. Looked like, I mean, unless it was just glanced off of Cam Talbot, looks like they both missed the net.
Played up on the wing, and it's going to go into the Toronto bench and go out of play. And Max Domi with a great scoring opportunity after the Leafs had been hemmed in their own end. Robertson got the puck out to him, and then everybody just seemed to let Domi close right in, and you're right, shot it over top of the goal.
It's the same spot Bertuzzi missed a little earlier coming off the left wing. Max Domi, by the way, in his last 13 games, Joe, 3 goals and 10 points. Including a couple of assists in the 3-2 loss to the Carolina Hurricanes.
No question the move to center has been
absolutely
a major league improvement for Domi in his play and just in his contribution, obviously, which you just mentioned. Played down into the King zone. Along the boards, it comes out at center. A bouncing disc that is cleared to the near wing. Chopped at then by McMahon and played in on Kings goaltender Cam Talbot. LA back organizing. Anderson leaves for Doughty. Are they chanting Drew, I suppose? I don't imagine it would be a boo. And along the boards to the far side, it comes back to the point. Long shot, blockered away nicely there by Jones. Down into the corner it goes. They battle for it on the wing. And now chipped along the wall. It's played around back of the net. And now Marner able to get it down into the LA zone. Nye's in against the boards. Matthews after it, came away with it, cleared it back behind the net. Marner trying to fish it free but couldn't. And then McCabe was unable to keep it in as it slides back to Toronto territory. Liljegren now to McCabe at center. He'll sweep it down into the King zone. 15:40 to go, second period, and this game is still scoreless. Doughty, pass to center, in across the line for Byfield. Byfield sends it down in along the boards. It comes back to the point, fed by Roy to the far side. Long shot, deflected wide of the Toronto net. Then a giveaway in front. Kempe got it into the slot, but it was stolen back nicely there by the Leafs as Matthews got it out into the center ice area. Leafs are trying to get a change going. Marner mirroring the attack, and it as it played in. Icing call coming here against Los Angeles, and it'll be back into the Toronto zone with 15:02 left to go.
I'll throw this date at you. We talked about the Doug Gilmour date. Now, this is not an anniversary, but on March the 5th, 2020, a week later, obviously, the National Hockey League shut down, but the Leafs in Los Angeles have played the Kings, and I believe it's the last time the Leafs were shut out on the road. 1-0 shootout loss. Freddie Anderson and Jonathan Quick were the goaltenders. The last time they just thinking of this.
Oh, because it's a 0-0 tie, and you've been bringing up the shutout streak for pretty much.
Yeah, but no, I haven't touched the other one yet.
Oh, okay, all right. Pass to the side of the goal, centered in front of the net. They score! Mr. Ralph, you are brilliant. Nylander gets the goal. No sooner said than done, and the Maple Leafs have a 1-0 lead. And you and I are off to Vegas.
Well, we got a good group of guys here. Let's just try to keep things simple, keep our structure in the broadcast. And the Leafs, it's Tyler Bertuzzi starts by getting his stick on an attempting clearing a pass. John Tavares then sealed off the right wing boards. And Tavares was able to not only knock it down, but eventually move it out to the slot. Willie Nylander, in one motion, sweeps it past stick side on Cam Talbot to give the Leafs a 1-0 lead. Nylander had his most recent streak stopped. 13-game point streak stopped against Carolina.
18th goal of the season for Willie, and here the Kings back the other way. Broken up right at the doorstep, and the Leafs get it out of the wing. Nylander lost his stick, and as he picked it up, the puck was right there, and now it's going to be offside at the LA blue line.
A huge first goal, and one of the reasons it's huge is the LA Kings, when scoring first this year, 14-2-3. And when giving up the opening goal of a game are 6-6-2. So with LA as good as they are defensively, you don't want to be chasing the game. That's what happened in their 4-1 loss in Toronto. Leafs fell behind, and it was tough sledding to generate any kind of offense.
So a 1-0 Toronto lead. Bertuzzi and Tavares draw the assists on the goal. And it comes at 5:13 of the second period. Matthews gets it back down into the offensive zone. Unable to come away with it. And the Kings organize back in their own territory and flip it to the line, but it's knocked away by Marner. He's waiting for assistance as it comes to Matthews. Matthews is hauled down and then boarded. And that's going to draw a crowd in there, as that was a bit of a dirty hit. Benoit trying to get a hold of the culprit along the boards. Matthews is back up on his skates, so that's good news.
Simon Benoit has got a hold of Doughty. And you know what? You like this, too. Go after our guy, we'll go after yours. Doughty doesn't want a lot to do with it. Now he's chirping with the officials. McCabe is still in there. And you might remember, Joe, there was an incident between Pierre-Luc Dubois and Austin Matthews in Winnipeg. It was during the 2021 shortened COVID season, where there was a wrestling match. Remember, they both got 2-minute minors for roughing. We'll see if this is even out or not. It looks like Matthews might have lost an edge. May not have been as dirty as it looked. But we'll sort it out when we get back.
All right. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the first time on the ice to the best game of their life, Esso is proud to support Canadian hockey at every level. Starting with minor hockey, where Esso medals cheer on the achievements of players to take them far on their hockey journeys. Esso medals participants have represented our country on Team Canada, and we're proud to support them on their quest for greatness. Learn more about Esso medals at essomedals.com.
The holiday season is officially behind us. The eggnog is gone and the decorations will soon be packed away. But maybe not Carol's next door. She leaves hers up all year long. I've never understood why. With Sunwing Vacations, say goodbye to January blues and hello to savings. Picture this: palm trees swaying, crystal clear waters, and not a fruitcake in sight. So long, awkward family moments. Paradise is calling. Book with your local travel agent or...
At Trillium Health Partners, we're ready to see you, not just as a patient, but as a person who needs innovative care with a human touch, a person with a life, with hopes, and with fears. At Trillium Health Partners, we'll see the whole you, our nurses, our doctors, and our staff. Because when we care for the whole person, our whole community gets stronger. Trillium Health Partners, we see you. Learn more at weseeyou.ca.
Pierre-Luc Dubois into the penalty box. Leafs to their second power play, brought to you by your Ontario Subaru dealers. Get more value out of every kilometer in a Subaru, starting with an award-winning safety at your local Subaru dealer. And the period brought to you by Molson. Whether it's Canadian Ultra, Export, or XL, there's a Molson with your name on it. And Matthews' name is still on that jersey, and it's upright and getting ready for the power play. End of what really should be concerning to the Maple Leafs here.
And really it was a hooking penalty. The face-off is going to come outside the LA blue line because both McCabe and Benoit, the defenseman, came in below the top of the circles. But we always talk about how are the Leafs going to respond, how they're going to respond. It turns out, I mean, it's only a hooking penalty. But this is how they respond right now on a power play.
Against the boards, cleared to the line by the Kings. Chopped down the ice. Riley starting out of his own end. Banks it ahead. Drop now for Marner. Marner works in across the line, slows things up. Played it in along the boards for Matthews. Matthews spins it back to the blue line. Marner walks the line, works to the right wing side, top of the circles, fakes a shot, drops it back to Riley. Riley left side and a drive whistled wide of the net by Nylander. Matthews back to the point to Riley. Riley looks for Matthews. Matthews can't one-time it. Holds. Back to Riley. Riley again with it. Took a shot. That deflected wide. Kings failed to get it out the first time, but do the second. And it's down into the Toronto zone. Morgan Riley coming to center. Dropping it back. Matthews drops for Marner. Across the line for Bertuzzi. Works down the board, send it to the far wing, grabbed off there by Willie. Nylander circles the net, comes out with a pass in front, deflected there in front by Yarncrook, and it just went wide. Willie again with a shot that deflects wide of the goal. Matthews on the far boards, getting some skating room. Works off into the slot, doesn't shoot it. Centering pass, bouncing puck in the goal crease, and it's knocked into the corner for Bertuzzi. Back it goes to Matthews, who remains out with the second unit. Shot deflects wide of the goal. Goes after it again, blocks another clearing attempt. Here's Yarncrook getting it in front of the goal. Grabbed off finally by the Kings, and they're going to ring the boards with it. But it goes out of play. And so a face-off with just 4 seconds left in the power play is back in Los Angeles territory. Nylander and Matthews remained out there, but Marner had gone to the bench.
You know why I like that? I know you can be critical of players of saying it's too long a shift. You're starting to get fatigued while you're out there. I like it from the mentality of we want to score. This is our opportunity to get the job done. And we've got the confidence that we can do that.
Bertuzzi loses a glove. He's playing without one as it comes to him in the corner. That's a little dangerous. A centering pass alone in front of the goal. A backhand scores! Never mind. Play without the glove. Yarncrook scores. And the gloveless Bertuzzi makes a great play to get him the puck in the slot.
The LA Kings, as good as they have been defensively, have turned the puck over numerous times in this game, and the Leafs take advantage again. This comes after the LA Kings win the draw. Drew Doughty takes the puck, heads behind the LA net, up the right wing boards, gets sealed off, and eventually, as you mentioned, Tyler Bertuzzi, who's stick handling on the far boards, throws it out to the front of the net, and Kelly Yarncroc was wide open in front of Cam Talbot. And the death move for Cam Talbot, Joe, was he started to make the poke check, and Yarncroc simply went forehand, backhand, and dumped it into the empty net.
So a 2-0 Toronto lead. It is not a power play goal. It comes at 8:14, and Kelly Yarncroc has got his 9th of the season. And the Leafs are full marks for a 2-0 lead. 18-8, they've outshot the Kings. Pass to the side of the goal, knocked around back of the net. Wrapping it around was McMahon, but unable to tap it there at the goal crease area was Gregor. Gregor hustles after the puck down in the offensive zone, but it's played out at center, and the Kings will settle things down and get it to the line and in. But quickly taken to the boards efficiently there by Camp. And now here is Benoit getting it ahead, and McMahon works down the left wing and shoots it in. Down the boards, far side, Camp trying to outfight his man for it. It comes back to the blue line. Leafs keep it in deep. Bouncing puck there for Anderson. He couldn't get it up on the wing to a winger. And now it's around back of the goal. And Matthews over the boards is in pursuit. Back to the point to Riley. Riley on the left wing for Nyes. The Leafs have gotten a change in here. Marner shifting around out in front as Matthews works back of the goal. Nyes couldn't come up with it. And the Kings are finally going to get it out. They'll work to the line and in. Drop pass goes to the left wing side, but it is turned over, and Nye starts back the other way. Got it ahead and in over the line, gets a return pass. Driving the net, tried to get a shot away. There's a scramble now, and Talbot is able to get it into the corner. Kings will clear it out into neutral ice.
Midway mark of the game, and the Leafs about.
Here's a lead pass. Sorry, Jimmy. In ahead for Bertuzzi.
Leafs about shot the Kings 19-8.
Here are the Kings back in their own zone. Bertuzzi got a stick in the way of that attempt, but now Kopitar will get it out. Roy in on the right side, and a shot right into the chest of Martin Jones, and he will cover up on it. Face-off coming into the Toronto zone. Nylander and Yarncroc have scored the goals. The Leafs with a 2-0 advantage. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
What it is. Connect with the R&B and hip-hop that's hot now.
Slamming you out.
Discover who's next. And stay up on the culture.
Cause Drake don't know how to kiss and not tell.
On the heat.
Girl, your BD is a 0. My back shot sound like bongo.
Channel 46.
What's up, Leafs fans? Another awesome night here on TSI. Thank you to each and every one of you for hanging out with us. Please don't forget to hit that like button, as it helps bring more Leafs fans into the chat. The more the better. A big shout out to our insiders and VIP members. Your support is truly appreciated. I cannot explain to you what it means for this community. Please consider joining our community. It's only 99 cents a month. I made it as low as possible so that we can get more and more people joining our community. Awesome member exclusive emojis in the chat during these Leafs games, and add your name to the scroll down below. Anyways, enough of the necessary evils to keep growing this amazing Toronto sports community and Maple Leafs community. Back to Leafs hockey. Go Leafs go. I'll see you guys in the chat. Peace.
This team, and he loves that they compete every night.
Points with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back. Stick handles to the backhand. Moves in front. Score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Leafs 2, the Los Angeles Kings no score. As Nylander from Tavares and Bertuzzi, followed by Yarncroc from Bertuzzi and Domi. all in the second period. And Yarncrook has enjoyed his time on the road. Last 9 games, he's got 5 goals.
Now the shorthanded goal in Buffalo, it seemed like a big one at the time.
Draw one by Toronto. McCabe plays it high to center ice and in over the line. Swiping at it and missing was one of the defensemen, but it goes down into the corner. That was Matt Roy. Now it came right out in front of the net and slides to the near boards. Kempe gets it out. Kopitar couldn't handle it. Leafs play it back to the blue line. Brought in now Bertuzzi. 3-point night on the stick maybe there if he'd have got a shot away, but now a wrister from Yarncrook is swallowed up on the chest by goaltender Cam Talbot. Face-off coming in the LA zone.
I mentioned Pierre-Luc Dubois, the incident he had while Austin Matthews is a member of the Winnipeg Jets. The LA Kings acquired Pierre-Luc Dubois from the Jets for Gabe Vilardi, Alex Iafallo, and Rasmus Kupari. And a second-round pick. Dubois has 14 points through 33 games. Vilardi and Iafallo each have more, playing for the Winnipeg Jets this season. So I'm sure Winnipeg is pretty thrilled.
Yes.
Kevin Shovel day off with the way this has worked out so far.
Face off in the Kings zone. Chipped in along the boards. It comes around to the near side for Lewis, and he's going to get it out at center. A good hit there. Stands up his man as Riley got a good hip check in. And now the Leafs, Domi getting it to center. Brought down into LA territory. Robertson in after a loose puck, but it comes around the boards. Robertson will chase it back behind the goal, and the Kings get it up on the right wing for Jordan Spence, and Spence takes his time coming out. Long shooting goes around the wall to the far side. Domi has to go to a loose puck, plays it up on the boards. The fight there to get it out is won by the Leafs. And Robertson goes to the bench as the pass comes off his skate, and the Leafs have it again. Up on the left wing, Domi couldn't handle that pass. Kemp brings it in, and offside is called as Fiala brought it down the right wing side. 8:18 to play in the second period. We'll be back with you tomorrow night when the Maple Leafs will travel. Not even sure what the hell the name of the expressway is. Well, it's one of the expressways in Los Angeles over to Anaheim. I mean, you know the QEW to Buffalo. But I'm not privy to all of the express. Well, of course, you could take a bunch of different routes, I suppose, to get to Anaheim from downtown Los Angeles.
As long as you go right at the light.
Yeah, that's right. Leafs in their own zone. Gregor gets it up on the wing. Chipped by Camp. And then when the Leafs tried to play it in, it goes off a stick and out of play with 8:03 left to play here in the period. Dennis Hildeby is an interesting individual. He's 6'7". He becomes the tallest Maple Leaf goaltender on record. Just a bit taller than John Bauer. A foot.
Alan Bester.
Alan Bester, 2 feet.
But I mean, he is. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have seen it posted online. Noah Gregor standing in front of Hildeby, and Hildeby towering, looking over top of him.
Yeah, he's going to be able to look over the screen. Never mind around it. At the point, Doughty against the boards, backhanded down into the corner. Liljegren in there after it, along with David Camp, who ties his man up on the boards. Puck finally is dug free, but it's intercepted and brought to center ice by the Leafs. Fed ahead on the left wing side. Bobby McMahon trying to drive the net, but getting back there was Mickey Anderson, and we get some hacking and whacking between McMahon and Anderson, and Anderson doesn't look like he wants to have anything to do with it. But there was a whistle here. Is there a penalty?
Getting a look here as Mann tried to drive to the net.
No, it was just the goaltender covering it up, I guess. Yep.
There'll be some words exchanged between Mikey Anderson and McMahon, but I don't think anything is going to come of this. But we were talking about the giveaways. So far in this game, they have the Leafs with 3, the LA Kings with 9. Talked about the number of turnovers LA has had, including the one that led to the second goal off the stick of Kelly Yarncroc.
Face off in the Los Angeles zone. Matthews, I believe, has been waived out. And so the decision will be between Nyes and Marner. And Nyes is told, go and take the face-off, Rook. And it's won by the Kings and played around the boards and out at center ice. Los Angeles in on the left wing with a shot, and it was high and wide as Kempe got that away. Morgan Riley snaps it, a long lead pass, in trying to get in over the line was Marner, but he was too well covered, and the puck comes back into the slot. Matthews tried to find Morgan Riley. Riley unable to keep it in, and it's gone into the Toronto bench. A long stretch pass for Mitch Marner, and he couldn't quite get behind the LA defenseman.
You find it in a lot of arenas now. They're multi-purpose. You got basketball teams in, you've got concerts. But it really looks like the puck's bouncing a lot tonight.
Well, if there's a multi-purpose arena more utilized than this one, with two basketball teams, the concerts, and then with the Kings, I would be hard-pressed to find one.
Now, Madison Square Garden, I know
maybe,
New York,
has
always been criticized for bad ice.
Now, having said that, they only have one basketball team in New York to worry about. Another shot deflects wide of the Toronto goal. In on the near boards. The Leafs try to punch it out, but it's bounced towards the net. And goaltender Martin Jones will just slide over, block that with the blocker, and put the catching mitt on top of it with 6:32 to go in the second period, and the Leafs leading 2-0. Veteran coach Todd McClellan in behind the bench for the LA Kings.
But Ante Kopitar leading the LA Kings in scoring. He's in the final year of an 8-year, $80 million contract. Signed an extension for a $3 million pay cut for the next 2 years after that. But there's a guy that wants to win, has already won a couple of cups with the Kings. And when you talk about hometown discount,
that's pretty substantial. Leafs come to center. Brought in over the line on the left wing. Yarncrook, a wraparound attempt that the pad of Talbot got down on. And now the Kings with it. The long lead pass out into the center ice area. Dropped off there by Moore and shot into the Leaf end. Leafs playing around the boards to the near corner. They can't get completely free. Get it airmailed and out off a glove to center ice.
No.
Oh, I don't know why there's a whistle initially.
Maybe a hand pass?
Well, I guess. I don't know if it went off a hand of one of the Kings at any rate.
Now, how do you think Kopitar felt taking the pay cut, which happened before Ohtani signed with the Dodgers?
Well, if he could hit a baseball, he might have gone over to Dodger Stadium and seen if they could give him a contract there. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
90% of people who need something done by a lawyer make this confusing mistake. They start by looking for a lawyer. Start smarter. Search directly for what you need done at Vexit.com. Through their online legal and accounting marketplace, you'll find everything from incorporating a business to marital agreements. Access over 100 services. The best part? No nonsense, fixed prices stated up front. Go to Vexit.com and find the right professional. That's VEXXIT.com.
Love meatballs? You could have spaghetti and meatballs, but why have a dish where they're mentioned second, like an afterthought? With 2-for-1 Pizza's new meatball menu, meatballs are the star of the show with dishes like meatball pizza, with meatballs, green peppers, and red onions starting at just $11.99, or their oven-baked meatballs, baked in their classic tomato sauce topped with Italian herbs for just $10.99. Order online at 2for1pizza.com.
2-for-1 pizza, 2-for-1.
The job market isn't changing. It's already changed. New technologies are creating new jobs and eliminating others. How can you prepare for this new world of work? With the York University School of Continuing Studies program. Our programs are developed with industry experts and enable you to upskill and reskill quickly. You'll also gain access to our career services to help pursue your ambitions. Get hired in fields like accounting, big data, cybersecurity, digital marketing, customer success management, and cloud ops. Learn more at continue.yorku.ca.
The Leafs 2 and the LA Kings nothing. I stand corrected. We were talking about the colors at the Gardens, and I mentioned gold.
Yep.
The golds didn't come in until the 70s. It was reds. It was blues, reds, grays. But the colors were fabulous. Just.
Yeah, well, I remember first moment, Maple Leaf Gardens, which was to play junior hockey against the Marlies, and how everything looked plastic. Everything looked shiny and plastic,
yeah.
which I had no idea. I'd seen it live with.
And was Paul Morris
right?
doing the PA?
The voice of God.
Yes. Shot in over the line, drops into the far corner in the Leaf zone. Lizotte trying to dig it out, plays it back behind the net. It comes into the near corner. 5:40 to play in the period as a long shot is into the glove of Jones, who has been very steady. And that's all you can ask for, right?
Well,
you don't have to be spectacular. You just have to be steady.
And I think, not trying to beat somebody when they're down, with Ilya Samsonov, when those would go in, those shots from the wing, from the high slot, they were just deflators. I mean, you could have played like the Leafs have played in the first 35 minutes of this game, and that one goal could turn it around. That one goal again.
Doughty sends it down around back of the Leaf goal into the far corner. Riley ties his man up. Matthews gets to the puck, got it freed up. Riley snuck around back of the goal and then plays it out and down the ice. Icing waved off, and it's back behind the Kings net. Played up on the wing, pinching down Riley. Got some assistance there with looking for Nyes in front of the net. Didn't reach him. Kings will get it out now, and it is out at center ice, brought on by Fiala. Dropping it back for Grundstrom to the left wing side. Closing, and the shot taken by Philip Danault went over top of the goal and well wide of the net. Riley back of the goal. Brody trying to help him out. Puck goes into the corner, stolen by Toronto, and Marner will get it ahead, and Riley comes to center. He's just going to flip it in. Nyes will provide some forechecking as it comes around the boards, and it's all out and down into the neutral zone. Leafs make a change. Brought into the zone by LaFerriere. In along the boards, grabbed off by Tavares. Tavares up on the wing, and the rink-wide pass finds Benoit, who will get to center, and he's going to shoot it in, but it goes off his stick and has cleared the glass and gone out of play with 4:19 left to play in the second period. Maple Leafs with a 2-0 lead over the Los Angeles Kings.
And for the Leafs, I mean, this is a very important 20-some minutes for them to get through. I mean, the number 2 goal leads that most recently it was against the Ottawa Senators, a 2-0 lead at home. They've blown their share. They've come back from their share. But to be able to play a nice, tidy game, especially on the road, would be huge to start off this road trip.
Benoit unable to receive a pass on the left wing. It comes out into the center ice area, then played down into the Toronto zone, but a whistle goes, and offside has been called by the linesman with 3:57 left to play here in the second period. Or is there a penalty?
And who is the penalty?
Is it Bertuzzi? Knocked down. I think it is.
Oh, that was Dubois. I mean, this was stick on stick. And Dubois stumbles and falls. Was this not stick on stick?
Thought it was.
Trying to look at it again. Tripping penalty is the call. But a huge moment for the Kings to try to get back into this game late in the second period.
Penalty kill brought to you by CMC Markets. Take your trading to the next level with $0 commission on stocks. Face Off is brought to you by Alpine Credits. You own your own home and need a loan? Alpine Credits can help. Get approved at alpinecredits.ca. Leafs control the face-off. Played but out into the slot area, and a shot is taken there by Adrian Kempe, and it went wide. Played back to the point. Kempe looking for the pass and takes it. Got a centering feed in, but it was deflected wide of the Leaf net. Played back at the Toronto goal. That's drawing a crowd. Kempe gets a loose puck back to the point. Faking the shot. Now to Kempe, a shot. Good pad save by Jones. 2 good saves by Jones, and it's knocked to the boards but not out. feel the same way as it's shot back down into the Los Angeles zone.
I believe that was Drew Doughty calling for the puck.
Somehow, Doughty drops it back, and it's brought on by Kempe. Lost at the Leaf blue line. That was going to get out, but it doesn't. Now the Kings working in with a pass back to Doughty. Doughty holds, walks the line, works it back into the corner, looks for a return pass from Byfield, doesn't get it. Now it does come to him over on the left wing with a shot that was blockered away nicely there by Jones, but a broken stick for one of the Kings is going to allow the Maple Leafs some room, and it is Marner bringing it to center. And it'll just be played down into the Los Angeles end. 2:35 left to play here in the period. 35 seconds, and an errant pass will force Los Angeles to regroup again at their own blue line. Shot into the Toronto zone. Rundstrom down the boards on the near side. Got it back to the point. Dano works down into the corner. Philip Dano back to the blue line. A long shot, gloved easily there off the stick of Jordan Spence by Martin Jones. And a face-off coming in the Toronto end.
I think part of the San Jose Sharks' success and run into the postseason was when they were able to acquire Martin Jones from the LA Kings. We said it, going back through his stats, I thought he played more than 34 games over his 2 years with the Kings. 13-14, they won a Stanley Cup. The goalies, Jonathan Quick, Martin Jones, and Ben Scriven. Former Leaf.
Yes. Kempe is, or at least David Camp has been waved out of the face-off area. 15 seconds left to go on the power play for Los Angeles. And the draw won by the Kings, and a shot, but the stick of David Camp got over there after being waved out. His responsibility was to get out at the point man, and he got a stick in the way, and up and into the screen it went. So they'll try it all over again with 11 seconds left in the power play, and now on the opposite side of the rink. Draw scrummed. Puck comes back to the point. Near side and a drive. Pad save made by Jones. Rebound to Camp, and he sends it out and down the ice. And the Leafs are 2 for 2 in the penalty kill.
The LA Kings 6 shots on this power play.
Roy shoots it down into the Leaf zone, but it's going to be an icing call, I believe, against Los Angeles. Is that the old icing?
It looked like Barb Reed and I Dream of Jeannie. The linesman, the signal that he made.
I think that was the old icing signal, as I recall. Didn't that do that back at the in the face-off circle, back in the defensive zone when you had to go back to your own end? Yeah. It was an old one, though. Must have gone to an old rules reminder series. Down into the corner it goes in the LA zone now. Minute 34 to go. It's underneath one of the LA players, and the game is bayed to continue until finally, with Willie Nylander standing over him and smiling, and decides, why don't we have a whistle here?
I don't know what it was he said. I believe it was Matt Roy was the LA King. Nylander was smiling and said something. Matt Roy didn't find it quite as funny as Nylander did. Maybe that's the difference between being up 2 or down 2.
The 22 wins that Jones has over the LA Kings is the most of any team. So he has been in this situation a number of times. Leafs controlled the face-off, got it back of the net. It's played up on the left wing. Benoit pinched enough to keep it in deep. But now Roy gets it out at center, and it's played to the Leaf blue line, but offside is called. Trevor Lewis unable to get it in over the line before teammates had encroached. Minute 14 left to go in the period.
LA had, the great start of the season. We mentioned the 11 straight wins on the road to start the regular season, obviously not in a row. Although LA has had some road trips where they'll play 7 or 8 games on the road, but the first 11 away from Los Angeles, all victories, an NHL record.
Brought on by Bertuzzi. Into the half boards, a centering pass for Tavares. He got a backhander away, but it was slowed up by the defenseman's stick and an easy cover for Talbot.
But the Kings in their last 10 games are just 4-4-2. And that's split equally between home and away. 2-2-1 in their last 5 at home. And it is amazing how, you try to match teams up one-on-one, and you really got to find how they were going at the time. Like when you get these East-West matchups, you get LA early in the year. Well, that's in the middle of winning 11 straight on the road. Now you get them, and things aren't going quite as easily for them.
Centering pass. Tavares around back of the net, pushes it into the near corner, and the Kings are going to get it out to center. And to the line and in for Moore, but that bogged down again. And the Leafs have done a nice job of standing up at the blue line a little bit.
But you can only do that when you've got back pressure, when you've got forwards that are coming back. So they're going in the same direction as the forwards trying to gain entry in the zone. So if there's a little chip and chase, at least then you've got a race for it still in the corner. But if you get that big gap, when you always hear players and coaches talk about we've got to watch our gap between forward and defense. As long as that gap is tight, that allows the defense to stand up and the forwards to put a little pressure on from behind.
Face-off outside the blue line, 39.7 seconds to go in the period. And the Leafs won the draw, and then McMahon flipped the puck out at center, got it handed back to him, then couldn't get it in over the line as the linesman got in the way. Now Roy for Los Angeles tipped it to the blue line. Leafs just want to get it out, chip it in. Just seconds remaining now in the period. And the Kings get a last-ditch rush in over the line with Kopitar trying to center. It goes around the boards to the far side. Grabbed off there by McMahon. They pin it to the boards. Al Riley goes after his man as the puck is dragged into the corner. 2 seconds left. Backhand shot. And a weak one that was directed wide of the net to end the period. So Willie Nylander and Calle Järnkrok get the goals, but Bertuzzi comes up with a pair of assists, primary assists, and the Maple Leafs have a 2-0 lead.
And there have been some guys that in the top 6, I think, have been outstanding, Joe. You mentioned Bertuzzi getting a couple of opportunities and some assists. Only 1 goal in the last 15 games for Bertuzzi coming in, but he's been noticeable. And even though they haven't exploded on the score sheets yet, Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner have been great as well.
Kings outshoot the Leafs 12-11 in the second period, a 22-18 advantage Toronto after 40 minutes of play. Our second period intermission is coming your way. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Congratulations to all our subscribers who took home a fantasy football title this year with the expert advice on Fantasy Sports Radio.
I want to thank you guys for making me a better fantasy player.
The winning doesn't stop there. Stick around to dominate DFS hockey and hoops, March Madness, fantasy baseball, and more. The winning never stops on Fantasy Sports Radio.
I won by 5 points thanks to your advice.
I want to help people win more than I want to win myself.
Sirius XM Channel 87 and the Sirius XM app.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio. Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
Get the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Not only is Sidney Crosby one of the greatest, probably top 5 NHL players of all time, and there's some non-hockey people in Pittsburgh that don't want to hear this, he's as good and as important as anyone who's ever played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whether you want to understand that or not, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. 24/7 Hockey Talk.
One of the greatest goaltenders of all time, Patrick Waugh. when you put your hands up, did you know at that moment that you were done?
No, I did not. Unfortunately, it happened. Just gave me a chance to have a fresh start somewhere else and be traded to Colorado was a good opportunity. Sometimes you need that little, change, and it was welcome for me.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91. And on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
18 months ago, I had New Flyers head coach John Tortorella. And I asked him what he was worried about the club, and he said, I don't like the room. We have a bad room. And I'm like, you haven't even coached this team yet. A year and a half later, John Tortorella loves his room. He loves this team, and he loves that they compete every night.
Point with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. Under review.
And if someone says, well, he's good in the room, you know what? They don't have a good in the room stat in the standings. I've yet to find that category. It's one of the most overplayed things. They better be good in the room. That's the least you better bring when you join a National Hockey League team.
Under review with Mick Kern. 11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Hey Toronto, I'm David Morsuti, host of the daily Toronto Maple Leafs podcast, Locked On Leafs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network on the SiriusXM app. Every weekday, we bring you the latest Leafs news and analysis, break down all the action, including this game you're listening to right now, and preview the next one. We're giving you everything a Leafs fan could want, all in a daily 30-minute podcast. Download Locked On Leafs right now on the SiriusXM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or where you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Leafs.
Hi, this is Ray Hudson, and for all the biggest matches from club soccer's holy grail, the UEFA Champions League, tune in to SiriusXM FC 157.
Bertuzzi loses a glove. He's playing without one as it comes to him in the corner. That's a little dangerous. A centering pass alone in front of the goal. Backhand scores! Never mind. Play without the glove. Yarncrook scores, and the gloveless Bertuzzi makes a great play to get him the puck in the slot.
The LA Kings, as good as they have been defensively, have turned the puck over numerous times in this game, and the Leafs take advantage again.
They sure did. 2-0 for the Leafs over the Kings after 40 minutes of play. TSN after 40 delivered by 241 Pizza. Right now, get 2 medium pizzas, 4 toppings combined for $20.99. Visit 241pizza.com. Jim Taddy and Josh Globe from The Athletic. 2-0 for the Leafs. The play by Bertuzzi without the glove is stupendous. And 2 primary assists. He's having a good night.
He is. And look, he's a $5.25 million player, and you expect production out of Tyler Bertuzzi. But it's not just the production that he's bringing right now. Both of those goals, that he got the primary assists on, what I noticed was he really got stuck in on puck battles in the lead up to his play. And I think that's what the Leafs really, really want from him, is that continued gusto, that continued energy. It's not about him throwing big hits. It's about him winning plays, winning puck battles in the corners, which he did, again, gloveless. And that's what was really impressive to me about Bertuzzi's play in the second period.
So I got to say, after 40 minutes, this is the best the Leafs have looked to me for a while. I guess you'd have to go back to that Pittsburgh game, 7-0, where they're dominating the opposition, like winning all the little battles. And it's one of the few times where you'd say the goaltending, even though it's been good from Jones, is not a factor here.
Well,
it's
how many
everything
games?
Else.
Right. How many games this season, Tapman, have the Leafs really, really dominated in a way that they did at their best last season? And we've talked about this a lot of times, right? The Leafs, it's Jekyll and Hyde. You don't know what you're going to get from night to night. This was the game that we all had circled on the calendar in terms of the California road trip. If you can get 2 points, and there's still a period to play, but if you can get 2 points out of this game, you set yourself up in a much better way moving forward through the rest of the trip. But yeah, so far through 40 minutes, like I can think of, the game against Nashville, the game against Vancouver back in October, those to me, and obviously the game against Pittsburgh when Kyle Dubas returned, those are kind of the high water marks for their season so far. And through 40 minutes, what's impressed me the most is just how they've broken through the Kings' defensive structure. They've given the Kings very, very little. And at the other end, they're just attacking the net. So I guess, ferociously. And, those are the components of the game that really make for an exciting Leafs team. And that's what we're seeing so far.
Well, really, they're taking the game to the Kings as opposed to reacting or trying to score their way out of a problem, which is kind of new, isn't it?
It is. I mean, after the game against Carolina, after the game against Columbus, you and I kind of looked at each other in a confused manner and said, when is this Leafs team going to start dictating play? And we talked about some of the great Leafs teams, and we don't need to get all nostalgic here, but we talked about some of the great Leafs teams of the past generation. Those teams of the early 2000s, right, where they played with such a physical edge and they had the scoring to match it. Right. And no matter what, the Ottawa Senators, for example, whatever they would do, from series to series, it didn't really matter to the Leafs because they were the ones dictating the tempo of the game. Right now, this Leafs team looks like they're capable of doing that because they're doing all the little things right too. And, we've all seen it. At every single scrum after the whistle, the Leafs are getting stuck in. The Leafs aren't backing down. And it's not just the likes of, Simone Benoit or Bobby McMahon. It's the top six as well. All these little things add up together to be a really, really just a great recipe for the Leafs and the kind of game that Sheldon Keefe can kind of look at and say, this is the blueprint. These are the things that we have to do. We know that as a team, we have it in us. That's the message he's undoubtedly going to give to his team, tomorrow morning if they continue this through the third period. Because I think as well, if you're Sheldon Keefe, that's probably the most frustrating thing or one of the most frustrating things when you're coaching this team this season. It's that they have it in them. They have these types of performances in them. It's not like this is a team that, maybe a playoff bubble team. This is a team that has the ability to be an elite team. They just don't show it night after night, but they've shown it against some of the better teams in the NHL so far. And that's why, there's got to be some confidence in this intermission at least.
Well, look, if we could use this as a reference point for a TSN turning point for the season, that would be nice. And sometimes that happens when there's a collision of bad experiences. You lose at home to Ottawa. You go into Columbus and blow a game there. And then, your goaltender goes south. He gets put on waivers and your best defensive center gets benched or doesn't get dressed. I mean, there's enough signs there that you should respond, and they have.
Well, the word that you used there that was important was respond, right?
Yeah.
You need the veterans, you need the experienced players on your team to understand that if we don't play our best here tonight, and Martin Jones, or we allow enough space in front of Martin Jones that he gives up 2 or 3 in the first period, and Sheldon Keefe feels he has to go to a goaltender that's never played a minute of NHL hockey, that's on us, right? So to have that kind of awareness and accountability, again, a buzzword in this city right now, that's important. And that's a really, really good sign when your team knows what kind of adversity you're facing and you respond to it.
So we talked a lot about Bertuzzi. Who else jumped off the page for you? I mean, this was a good group effort. I don't know if we can single any one person out.
Well, I mean, I like the fact that Calle Yarncroc can show the kind of hands that he did on his backhand goal, admittedly on the power play. But I think Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews have looked great, just in the sense that they're attacking the net regularly. But we should give a little credit to Martin Jones. He hasn't made as many saves as maybe we thought he might have to make. But he's kicking pucks away. He made 6 saves on that last penalty kill late in the period that could have been a turning point for the Kings. But he's made the saves he's had to, and he's kept his Leafs team in the game, playing the style of hockey that he does. It's a little bit aggressive out of the net, but it's composed when he's in the net, and that's what you want to see from a veteran goalie.
2-0 Leafs over the Kings after 40 minutes of play. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
The holiday season is officially behind us. The eggnog is gone and the decorations will soon be packed away. But maybe not Carol's next door. She leaves hers up all year long. I've never understood why. With Sunwing Vacations, say goodbye to January blues and hello to savings. Picture this: palm trees swaying, crystal clear waters, and not a fruitcake in sight. So long, awkward family moments. Paradise is calling. Book with your local travel agent or...
At Trillium Health Partners, we're ready to see you. Not just as a patient, but as a person. A person who needs innovative care with a human touch. A person with a life, with hopes, and with fears. At Trillium Health Partners, we'll see the whole you. Our nurses, our doctors, and our staff. Because when we care for the whole person, our whole community gets stronger. Trillium Health Partners, we see you. Learn more at weseeyou.ca.
Most salespeople assume that failure to immediately answer a prospect's questions will be seen as evasive and result in loss of the sale. When a prospect starts pumping you for info before you have established any ground rules for the conversation, they are stealing your information. Having the inner strength to say, I'd love to answer that, but before I do, can I ask you a few questions, is critical. If you're deadly serious about improving your sales and leadership skills, go to trainwest.ca to learn how. That's trainwest.ca.
When running a business, you face plenty of challenges. Skip the challenge of finding and negotiating with lawyers and accountants. Go to Vexit.com instead. Vexit is Canada's online legal and accounting marketplace with over 100 services, covering everything you need to run a business, including tax filings. Vexit will match you with accredited small business professionals in as little as 3 minutes. The best part? No nonsense, fixed prices, stated up front. Go to Vexit.com and see for yourself. That's VEXXIT.com.
Good morning, baby, it's a brand new day.
When you vacation with Norwegian Cruise Line, every day is a new day. Get a taste for Barcelona, then savor incredible dining back on board one day. Connect to ancient history in Athens, and then disconnect in our spa another day. Wherever the sea breeze takes you, come aboard and experience a different tomorrow with Norwegian. Visit ncl.com, call your travel advisor, or 1-888-NCL-CRUISE. Norwegian Cruise Line. Ships registry the Bahamas and USA.
The rest of my life gon' start today.
Ontario is building up our nursing workforce. Since 2018, over 60,000 new nurses have registered to work in Ontario. Last year alone, Ontario added 15,000 new nurses, a record year. Across the province, there's another 30,000 nursing students in school. We're investing millions in new programs that pay for nurses' schooling, books, and equipment, and attracting highly trained nurses from around the world by breaking down barriers so they can get to work sooner. See all the ways we're connecting you to care. Ontario.ca/yourhealth. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
The out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by Maple Toyota. Build your next dream Toyota at Maple Toyota and check out Maple Toyota's pre-owned inventory arriving daily. It's time to Toyota. Visit mapletoyota.com. Late in the third, Canucks 6-3 over the Senators. At the end of the second period, Detroit and San Jose tied at 2. The rest are done. Boston defeats the Blue Jackets 4-1. The Canes over the Rangers 6-1. Capitals get by the Penguins 4-3. Montreal 4-3 over the Stars. Flames 3-1 over the Wild. Chicago got shut out by the Preds 3-0. Jets 4-2 over the Lightning. Panthers 4-1 over the Coyotes. Flyers lost to the Oilers 5-2. And it was the Avs 5-4 over the Islanders in overtime. In our game, 2-0 for the Leafs over the Kings after 40 minutes of play. This is Bolsa Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Carrie Underwood brings you a brand new way to work out. Just in time for your New Year's resolution. It's not just cardio, it's cardio.
A playlist that gets you ready to work out, gets you in the zone. I like stuff that I can either dance to or that I can get mad with.
High energy tracks you can sweat to. Plus, fitness tips from Carrie and her trainer. Cardio by Carrie's Country. Now in the Sirius XM app. Free with all trials and popular plans.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio. Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
Get the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Not only is Sidney Crosby one of the greatest, probably top 5 NHL players of all time, and there's some non-hockey people in Pittsburgh that don't want to hear this, he's as good and as important as anyone who's ever played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whether you want to understand that or not, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on Sirius XM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter.
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it. There's a chance. Rebound. Caulfield shoots and scores.
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
2-0 Toronto as we head to the third period. Nylander from Tavares and Bertuzzi, and Yarncrook from Bertuzzi and Domi. And the Maple Leafs have the 2-0 lead. Both goals scored 5-on-5. Both teams are 0 for 2 on the power play, but the Maple Leafs holding a 22-18 shot advantage as we head to the third period.
And the LA Kings, when trailing after 2 periods this year, 2-8-1 in the previous 11 times they found themselves in this position. The Leafs, when leading after 2, 13-0-2 on the season.
Leafs to the left, Kings to the right. It's a late night here, Mr. Ralph. I'm yawning here. It's way past my bedtime. Leafs bring it to the line and get it down into the zone, but it's quickly chipped back out at center. A battle ensues right at the blue line with Marner trying to force it in over the line. Nyes does likewise. And now the puck squirts free, and Trevor Moore in with a shot that went over top of the Leaf goal and caroms all the way to center ice. Kings send it right back in over the line. Chance now for Moore driving the net. Sprawling to block that, and a great play made by T.J. Brody.
Trevor Moore picking up a loose puck, taking it to the net. Trevor Moore, by the way, leads the LA Kings in goal scoring, 17 on the season. That ties the career high for him already. Scored his first NHL goal as a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I believe I read one of 2 players in this game that were born in California.
Yes, the other one being
Austin Matthews. And many people assume he was born in Arizona.
Yeah, he grew up there. That's where he started playing hockey and everything, but he was born in California. And he wants to have one of the neutral site games to be in Mexico because his mom is from Mexico, which would be kind of a neat experience, I'm sure. Icing call here against Toronto. Is something they don't want to do, and that is ice the puck a lot and sit back on their heels. They need to carry the play to the Kings. And
yeah, we were talking about that in the intermission, where they've got to stay aggressive. I mean, the defense don't have to pinch, but stay aggressive on the forecheck. The Leafs have been able to force some turnovers, and they got to continue with that.
Top down in on goal, played by Talbot up on the boards. Trying to keep it in there, Tavares, and he's done that, but couldn't get it in deep. Cleared off a stick and into the bench. And this game, this period, has started at a crawl. Kind of a late start anyway, a 7:30 local time start, and 10:30, of course, here in Toronto. But traffic, you know, Mr. Ralph, traffic in LA is a bear. You know, that's why they probably...
Yeah, it's so much better here.
Yes. Long shot steered wide of the net by Talbot. Round back of the goal. Leafs upended there, but the puck goes free. No penalty, and it's out at center ice. Onto the left wing side and shot in now by Fiala. Wide of the Leaf goal. Round back of the net, trying to come out with it was Danault. It's poked away, and the Maple Leafs are just going to airmail it high to center, and a bouncing puck settles in time for Liljegren to get it down into the zone. Around the boards it comes. Liljegren dropping it at the right side. Now got a shot away. That deflected off a skate wide. Leafs back of the net, trying to flip it out in front. And that almost went in off of Englund at the side of the goal. And Talbot had to get a glove on it to stop play and bring a face-off in the LA zone.
Well, have you not just loved Max Domi? Like we said, since he moved to the middle, it seems like it's gone right to his hands. And that little flip pass he tries from below the goal line doesn't work this time, but very nearly got a break with a ricochet off the defenseman's skate.
And you mentioned his point totals. Picked up another assist here as a shot goes wide of the LA goal, trapped around back at the net. Camp coming out with a backhand that was deflected wide. Gregor couldn't get to it. McMahon up against the boards. The puck comes in front, but it is the Kings getting it up on the wing and quickly playing it out at center ice. Brody against the boards, brought in offside. And we've played 2 minutes and 13 seconds in about an hour and a half. As the face-off is coming outside the blue line.
Let me see what else I got here.
Page 2.
How about this? Trevor Moore on pace for a 42-goal season when his career high has been 17 from a couple of years ago with the Kings. You're on your own, by the way.
That was it.
That's all I got.
Was it. Long shooting, gloved by Jones, and that stops play. So that ticked off about 5 seconds. So things are moving along at a brisk pace.
I already mentioned the Trevor Moore thing, right?
Yeah, just a little while ago. Yeah. Got anything else?
Still 42. Goal pace. But you know what? This is great from a Leafs standpoint. You know, just keep the puck out of your own end of the face-off side of your own zone. And you wouldn't mind putting this crowd in Los Angeles to sleep the rest of the way.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
At the point, a shot blocked and out of play, and that took 5 seconds. So
oh, next whistle's a big one.
It is. It is. See if we can get 20 seconds off the clock here before another whistle. Lots of Leaf fans, of course, out in California. A lot of Canadians living out in California. A lot of them involved in the movie industry and everything. As it's played out into the center ice area. Chip back in now to the Toronto zone. And Brody circles the net, banks it off the boards, tipped out and down the ice. Not enough for icing. Bade the game go on, and Drew Doughty has it at the side of the net. Remember Larry Mann?
Yes.
Yeah. Used to run into him at the old Forum.
Did those commercials for Bell, didn't
Yep. Yeah. Played along the boards, back to the point. A shot. I don't think Jones saw that till it hit him. Comes back to the point again. Another shot deflects wide of the Leaf goal.
In the days, got him right in the mask.
Yep. In the days when I didn't have a color guy early on, real blessing in those days. We used to get Larry to do color with me when I was in Los Angeles. Remember the Sting? He was part of the movie The Sting.
Paul Newman and Robert Redford?
Yes, he was the conductor, remember, on the train where the poker game was going on. Leafs play it out at center and down into the Los Angeles zone. Some completely useless information right there, but it ate up some time. And play has continued. Centering pass in front. Oh, nice! Had a great chance set up by Marner.
Boy.
And right into the chest of Talbot.
Talbot came well out to challenge. Great play again. The Leafs on the forecheck. Mitch Marner on the right wing boards. As the Kings turn the puck over, Marner tried to get it to Austin Matthews. It went past Matthews, but right onto the tape of Matthew Nye. He let it go from between the hash marks, but Talbot came up with a big stop.
16:15 to play third period. Still 2-0 Toronto. Leafs keep the puck in, but a bad pass there by Matthews was deflected out at center ice. Now Matthews unable to steal the puck. Fiala brings it in on the right side with a backhand high and wide to the near boards and back to the point. Anderson there. Back into the corner. But the Leafs get there first, but don't make a play. Liljegren against the boards now. It's tied up. It's dug free. Centering effort. Goes wide. Bounces back to the blue line to Doughty. Doughty's pass into the corner. Coming out to the side of the goal. Knocked down there by Jones. And he's got it frozen up against the goalpost. And has brought another face-off in the Toronto end.
And this is exactly what you've got to stay away from. Timothy Liljegren had the puck in the corner to the right of Martin Jones. And it was that hesitation coming up the right wing boards that eventually cost them. Kings closed in and end up getting a couple of scoring opportunities out of it.
Mark Giordano does a good job on Fiala to make sure he can't bring it out in front of the net. Jones holding the post. Stops play. 25-21 shots on goal favoring Toronto. And another face-off win by the Maple Leafs. And chipped along the boards and out into neutral ice. A pass up on the left wing for Riley. Riley closes, got a shot on the sharp angle that was handled by Talbot. And the Kings trying to bring it back. Englund got it up on the far wing, sent down in on goal. Tucked back at the net by Jones. Riley is there again. Riley's pass out at center. McMahon sends it deep. Gregor will forecheck and chase back at the goal. Spence got it back into the near corner to defense partner Englund, and he gets it out. Now Moore trying to stick handle in. Good job there by Lizotte to straddle the line to stay on side. Played down into the far corner. Benoit has his man tied up. Stepping on the puck there is Trevor Moore. And now it's played back of the Toronto goal. Played up on the wing and chipped to center ice. Kings back to organize. Play it ahead. Errant pass. Icing call. And it'll come back into the Los Angeles zone. 14:34 to go here in period number 3. Well, the Leafs with a 2-0 lead.
Tomorrow night is a 9 o'clock start. Eastern time when the Leafs are in Anaheim. They might have to push that back the way this period's going.
Sorry, can't get there in time.
Yeah.
Game's still on in L.A.
Might have to get an Uber for Hildeby to get him there.
Get him there in time
tomorrow if he does in fact get the start.
Draw to the right in the Los Angeles zone. Kings have won 55% of the faceoffs. As the draw again won by Los Angeles, but then an errant pass deflected away there as Robertson got it into the slot, but a backhand by Yarncrook didn't work, and the Kings have it back of the goal. Gavrikov waiting for teammates to get organized. Lots of Leaf jerseys in the stands, and it's brought out by Gavrikov to center. Long shoot-in that went wide. Goes down the centering pass. Stopped by Jones. Jammed at it. Goes in the net. But it's waved off by the official on the far side. It was a half-hearted horn that went off.
Now the officials are going to talk.
This is Steve Kozari who has waved it off.
Yeah, but the whistle did go. You could hear the whistle go before the puck was knifed into the net.
And was it Byfield that jammed it home? There's no question the puck ends up in the net, but the whistle has gone.
Yeah, and you know what? It wasn't Byfield that pitchforked. Yeah, I think that's what the call is more than anything. It wasn't Byfield trying to get another look at it. It might have been Philip Deneau that propelled. It was a little pitchfork that propelled Martin Jones into the net and the puck with it. We're going to get another look at the overhead here. No, actually, it was Trevor Moore. My apologies.
One of the fans wants him to throw a challenge flag. That's football. They do that. So, at any rate.
Well, the Kings are taking a look at it. And it would be a pretty big gamble to try to challenge this.
And we got the refs, you suck.
No, he
can't
just,
go.
I think Todd McClellan just gave him the no.
No. So there'll be no challenge. Face-off will be outside the blue line.
Go to commercial, I guess.
Well, why wouldn't we? It is 2-0 in favor of the Maple Leafs. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
It's Week 18 in the NFL. Playoff spots are on the line, and there's only one place for all the action.
Touchdown! Josh Allen, the beast, has been released!
And that's the Sunday Drive. This is Bill Eckes. Join Steve Torrey and me at noon Eastern for live listen-ins, guests, playoff implications, and coaching news around the NFL.
You know, it's a playoff atmosphere, a really good team.
Spend Week 18 with the Sunday Drive at noon Eastern on NFL Radio Channel 88 and on the SiriusXM app.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio. Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
Get the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey, NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Not only is Sidney Crosby one of the greatest, probably top 5 NHL players of all time, and there's some non-hockey people in Pittsburgh that don't want to hear this, he's as good and as important as anyone who's ever played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whether you want to understand that or not, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
2-0 Toronto. Third period. Goal scorers have been Nylander and Yarncrook. And Martin Jones. Not spectacular, but workmanlike. Handling 26 LA shots, including one goal that was called back because he was pitchforked into the net. Round the boards in the Los Angeles zone. Centering pass there by Bertuzzi. No one there. Kept in at the point, though. Back of the net, Tavares works along the boards. Couldn't get by the defender. And the Kings start out with it. Moore coming to center ice. Trevor Moore in on the left wing. Got a shot away that was deflected into the corner. And then another shot is deflected high and up into the screen and out of play.
How many whistles do you think?
312. I've been counting.
Now, are you?
That includes a couple of extra whistles when the goal was waved off. So not just to stop play, but for other whistles, for other reasons.
Plus the time change.
Yeah, plus the time change. Yeah, this has been a very, very slow period.
Well, it's been a grind, but as you said, you're going to have this period.
Have it for the Leafs. And nurse the 2-0 lead. Shot in by Liljegren. Round the boards it goes to the far side. Nyes trying to protect it. Kept in at the point by Giordano. Liljegren pinches on the other side. It'll be swept around to the far wing and out at center. And now a foot race after it. Here's Kempe into the corner, but Giordano got back in time to create an issue for him. And the Maple Leafs now start out with Matthews coming through neutral ice. 3-on-2 rush. Pass from Marner was just out of his reach. And Matthews goes into the corner after it against Anderson and couldn't come up with it. Back out at center ice. Marner chipping it back to the defense. Brody and Riley exchange the disc. Brody with it once more. Leafs have gotten a change going. Off on the wing to the near side. Backhanded by McMahon into the corner. Gregor up on the forecheck. But the Kings get it to the blue line, but have it turned over, and the Leafs have it again. Right back down to the center ice area and backhanded once more into LA territory. In goes Kemp to get it along back of the net. David Kemp couldn't come up with it. Played to the blue line, shot high towards the net. Finally gloved and knocked down by Drew Doughty. Good shift for the fourth line, though. Just keep the puck down in the offensive zone. Now Doughty shoots it back into the Leaf end. Brody had it blocked. A shot hit the side of the goal. Played around the boards. It'll come to the line. Drop back into the near corner and around the boards far side for Danault. The Kings get it back to the point. Just off a Leaf body. Grabbed off there by Brody, who was knocked down on the play. lifted to the line, but not out by the Maple Leafs. And it's around back of the net. Controlling it there is Fiala. Fiala trying to center, but it's knocked away. And Yarncrook will skate it to center and is kind of slew-footed there by Fiala, but no call.
Glove to the face, too, wasn't it?
Well, it was pretty good slew foot, wasn't it? Foot behind him. Glove to the face. Pull you over my foot. No call. Played ahead off the boards and down into the zone by Domi. 56 seconds from the midpoint of the period. Still 2-0 Toronto. Kings get it out on the right wing side. One-on-one rush, and a shot is deflected again by the stick of the defender. Up into the screen, and now we've got Benoit in a fight with Englund. Long range at this point. Englund trying to throw a jab. Benoit trying to get a right hand over. Lost his helmet and then took an uppercut. And down both of them go. And since it was well behind the play and not within camera range, have no idea what started this.
Often you have two defensemen fighting. Yeah, this was just England Benoit finishing a check. What else would start a fight in the NHL this day?
Yeah, he had pinched down and...
So now, are they going to call an instigator here?
2 in LA, number 5. 5 minutes each for fighting.
All right, so here's another instance. You know exactly who instigated the fight. And it was England. You can see Benoit is in the Leaf penalty box and his fingers are cut. So he might have landed one. Looks like it would be cut, Joe, by the visor. There's a perfect line across his knuckles.
And
he may have to go to the Leaf dressing room for repairs on this.
Well, they're not going to let him do it now, but both players get fighting majors at 10:37 left to go here in the period. The Kings get it back to the point. Drop it off onto the right wing side. Byfield, or at least Kopitar, trying to keep it in. It comes back to the point. Pass down low, and a deflection off a stick from Brody. Knocked it back at the net. Riley couldn't get to it. Kopitar on the far boards leaves it there for Moore. Moore is knocked down on the play. The puck up against the boards. Dug out by Kopitar. Down deep into the corner. Byfield gets it back to the point. Shot coming from Roy, and it went high and wide. Rebound to the far side. Bertuzzi couldn't get to it. Poked to the line, but still not out. Kept in nicely there by Byfield. Now back of the goal, a sharp angle shot. And there was Jones hugging the post to make sure that didn't creep in. Down around the boards far side. Good pressure here from the Kings. Moore, cross-check from behind, knocked down, no call. Back to the point, Roy with a shot, and Jones had good vision on that. There was no one around, and now we've got, is that Tavares?
Tavares says that Byfield's got a headlock on Tavares, and that brought Tyler Bertuzzi in. Kind of like this. It's been a bit of a scrappy game, and we're not sitting here always talking about how the Leafs are responding. They've been the aggressors in many of them.
2-0 Toronto. Third period. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
At Trillium Health Partners, we're ready to see you. Not just as a patient, but as a person. A person who needs innovative care with a human touch. A person with a life, with hopes, and with fears. At Trillium Health Partners, we'll see the whole you. Our nurses, our doctors, and our staff. Because when we care for the whole person, our whole community gets stronger. Trillium Health Partners, we see you. Learn more at weseeyou.ca.
Ontario is building up our nursing workforce. Since 2018, over 60,000 new nurses have registered to work in Ontario. Last year alone, Ontario added 15,000 new nurses, a record year. Across the province, there's another 30,000 nursing students in school. We're investing millions in new programs that pay for nurses' schooling, books, and equipment, and attracting highly trained nurses from around the world by breaking down barriers so they can get to work sooner. See all the
What's up, Leafs fans? Another awesome night here on TSI. Thank you to each and every one of you for hanging out with us. Please don't forget to hit that like button as it helps bring more Leafs fans into the chat. The more the better. A big shout out to our insiders and VIP members. Your support is truly appreciated. I cannot explain to you what it means for this community. Please consider joining our community. It's only 99 cents a month. I made it as low as possible so that we can get more and more people joining our community. Awesome member exclusive emojis in the chat during these Leafs games, and add your name to the scroll down below. Anyways, enough of the necessary evils to keep growing this amazing Toronto sports community and Maple Leafs community. Back to Leafs hockey. Go Leafs go. I'll see you guys in the chat. Peace.
3 knuckles, so that leads you to believe that might have been right on the visor. Coming up to cut it like that. Yeah, the Matthews line coming out to take the draw in their own zone here. 9:36 to go in the third period. The Leafs holding on to a 2-0 lead that they built in the second period.
Goals from Nylander and Järnkrok as the puck goes to the side of the Leaf goal. Played up on the wing. Launched high to center ice, and the Leafs have it again. Back in their own zone, under control. Liljegren skates around back of the goal. A bit of a collision in front of the Leaf net. Pushed out at center ice. Grabbed off again by Nyes. Worked to center. He got tripped up. Crossed the line. It comes to Marner. Penalty coming here to Los Angeles. And the Leafs are going to get a big opportunity here to put a real stranglehold on this game with their third power play opportunity of the game. Brought to you by your Ontario Subaru dealers. Get more value out of every kilometer in a Subaru, starting with award-winning safety at your local Subaru dealer.
And I believe that was Pierre-Luc Dubois that took down. They gave it to... I'm not so sure that I read this one. I thought it was Dubois that got his stick in. Ended up on top of Matthew Nye.
So tripping is the call. Leafs on the power play. Draw one by the Kings, and they're going to send a long slap shot down the ice. Morgan Rielly skates after a loose puck. Sends it around back of the net. Matthews able to free it up now for Tavares. Leafs being hemmed in here with some good forechecking by Blake Lizotte. But now they get it ahead, and Marner is able to come through neutral ice. Fed it in on the left wing to the captain. Tavares stops up at the half board. Sends it back into the corner to Marner. Now to Matthews, or at least to Nylander, trying to find his man in front. It comes back to the point. Rielly holds and walks the line. Off on the wing, Marner. Down low it goes. Nylander coming out with a shot, and it's into the chest of Cam Talbot and smothered by the Los Angeles goalkeeper. Face-off will be in the LA zone again.
Well, Nylander, a long look back to the bench and Sheldon Keefe to see if they're going to make a change on the power play, but the number one unit will stay out. 1:11 to go with the extra man.
I think Willie, more than trying to score there, was hoping for a redirect from Marner, who was cutting across.
Then he just lobbed it.
At the point, Matthews on a face-off win, and a hammered job there by Matthews. It was blocked. Kept in at the blue line. Near the side now for Matthews, down to the half boards. A pass down low. Nylander goes around back of the net. Willie gets it back to the blue line. Hold it there and brought on by Marner. Marner with a shot that went off his skate. Gets to the rebound, into the corner. Down low. Chance for Tavares as he came out. Good save made by Talbot. Leafs doing a good job of puck control here. Back to the point. Shot drilled. Whistled by Matthews, and it was off his stick and wide. And it's cleared by the Kings out at center ice. Rielly will take his time as changes are being made. He's going to the bench as well. 24 seconds left to go in the power play. 7:28 left to play third period. Liljegren to center. Drops it back. Brought on now by Järnkrok. Dished off for Domi. Played off the boards to himself on the wing, but it is grabbed off by the Kings and sent back out at center ice. Leafs stretching things out. Back in their own zone. 2 seconds left in the penalty, and it is over. So the Leafs are 0 for 3 on the power play tonight. Both of their goals have come at even strength. Shot down into the King zone once more. And Los Angeles will start out with it. Right wing side for Gavrikov. Sent in over the line. Brody in against the boards on the far side. Played it to the side of the goal. Now in behind the net. Kempe gets it for Kopitar. Kopitar back to the point. D to D. It comes back into the slot. Kempe had it knocked away. Racing after it there was Järnkrok, but he couldn't get to the puck. Gavrikov to center. Good checking there by David Camp. Turns it away, and the Leafs are going to play it off the boards to center and get it deep into LA territory once more. 6:19 and ticking in the third. LA playing it around back of the net. Chipping it up on the right wing boards. Out at center it comes, and the Leafs will turn it back with a pass up on the right side and cleared down in over the line as LA has to go back with Byfield, setting it up on the wing, and now out at center ice it'll come from Grundstrom. Off a stick and now to Byfield. Sharp angle. Deflected away by Riley. Harmlessly as it comes to the blue line. Doughty keeping it in on the right side. Couldn't get a shot to the net. Sends it back to the point. Shot coming. Broken up. Doughty with a drive. That went off a body in front and goes wide of the net. Back to Doughty once more. Good pressure here from LA. Doughty down into the corner. Still with it. Stick knocked out of the hands of an LA player in front of the net. Almost a bit of interference there. Now a shot deflected wide of the goal by goaltender Jones. Broken stick discarded by the official. Kept alive. Doughty into the slot. Leafs being hemmed in here. Shot goes wide of the net and around the boards. It'll come to the blue line. Doughty, though, has to go off a stick and out at center ice. Leafs getting a much-needed change. Brought in over the line by Dubois. Dubois with it against the... brought out over the line. It's a delayed offside. The Leafs get it ahead. Here's a chance for Matthews, and he snapped it over top of the goal. Soon as that.
What a smart heads-up play by Austin Matthews. When he sees the delayed offside and LA players caught deep, he takes off for the LA end.
Kopitar weaving in over the line, forced wide to the far half board. Centering pass deflected wide of the Leaf goal. 4:27 to go. Back at the blue line. Leafs are able to chip it out at center ice. Kings have to go back to organize. Danault, left wing feed, Grundstrom. Couldn't get in cleanly. It's a delayed offside. They'll have to clear. Still a delayed offside. Leafs maybe not taking advantage of that. Have iced the puck.
I don't know. Was that Liljegren that flipped it up ice? There's got to be better communication than that because the Leafs seemed in a hurry to get rid of it. And LA still had to clear the zone as they had to earlier when Austin Matthews had that rush on the right wing side.
So a gift here. And with 4:07 to go, face-off in the Toronto end. 2-0 Leafs. Kings have taken the shot on goal lead at 31-28. Matthews taking the draw here. Against Adrian Kempe, and the Leaf forward wins it. And Bertuzzi gets it launched high into the center ice area. More changes for Toronto. Pass intercepted by the Leafs. Brought on at center. And across the line, Nyes. Back for Nyes. And it was deflected just wide of the net as it was flipped in there by Max Domi. And Dubois and Nyes having a bit of a word as they'll go to their respective benches. The Maple Leafs with a 2-0 lead on the Los Angeles Kings, trying to nurse this home with 3:47 left to play. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on Sirius XM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter.
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
24/7 Hockey Talk.
One of the greatest goaltenders of all time. Patrick Waugh, when you put your hands up, did you know at that moment that you were done?
No, I did not. Unfortunately, it happened. Just gave me a chance to have a fresh start somewhere else and be traded to Colorado was a good opportunity. Sometimes you need that little, change, and it was welcome for me.
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91. And on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
18 months ago, I had New Flyers head coach John Tortorella. And I asked him what he was worried about the club, and he said, I don't like the room. We have a bad room. And I'm like, you haven't even coached this team yet. A year and a half later, John Tortorella loves his room. He loves this team, and he loves that they compete every night.
Points with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Well, we were querying why a slash wasn't called, and then find out that a slash has been called. Doughty in the box. The Leafs with the power play with 3:47 left to play in the third period.
Power play 0 for 3 on the night. 6 shots on goal coming with the man advantage.
Shot around the boards by the Kings. Trapped at the blue line by Matthews. Fed over to Riley. Riley to Matthews. They just need to be careful with this power play as a shot deflected wide of the net. Nylander back of the goal. Still with it. Works back to the far side. Dropped it back. Tavares mishandled it, but gets it back there from Matthews. Matthews on the boards, and the Kings can't get it out.
Well, we got a penalty here. It's going to be a
call coming to the Leafs.
Boy, does that change in a hurry. Is that going to be Austin Matthews?
I think it's Tavares.
So 1:32 to go in the penalty to Drew Doughty. Tavares goes for the hook. So it'll be 4-on-4 for a minute 32. Boy, the Leafs would have got a pretty, man, this is another one of those where it's just seems to be more of a stick lift than anything else. But Tavares is going to go. And boy, this could change. Cam Talbot has actually left the bench. So the LA Kings now playing 5-on-4 with the empty net.
So the Leafs have the face-off in their own zone, and because it's a 4-on-4 situation, they can't ice the puck, and the Kings are going to keep it in. Here's Spence working down into the corner. Played it around back of the net. Brody got it freed up, but not cleared. It goes off a skate. Still back of the net. Byfield gets it back to the blue line. Spence holding it there. Back for Quentin Byfield. Spence is able to keep it in. Plays to the far side. Looks back to the point, and a drive is whistled wide of the Leaf goal. Leafs Brody trying to find an outlet, and the Leafs are just going to airmail it to center ice. They can't really go for the net. Although with a 2-0 lead, you probably can't. Brought on now by Spence. In across the line. Byfield was tied up sufficiently. Giordano in against the boards. Byfield trying to dig it free. Comes back to Jordan Spence. He'll walk back to the blue line. Dropping it off for Kempe. Pass into the slot, and the shot was blocked. Leafs trying to get it out, and they'll do just that. And that only. They get a change of players started. Kempe gets it across the line. Now trying to drive the net was Kopitar. Poked away nicely there by Jones. 2:09 left to play. Down into the corner. It comes back to the point. Near side now for Kempe. Kempe to the far wing. Pass across, and it's knocked away by the Maple Leafs. Good hustle into the corner. Grabbed off by Brody. Brody gets it ahead. It's airmailed high towards an empty net. Wide. Icing call, but a good opportunity and a good chance.
And it'll be 4-on-4 technically for 1 second. And the Kings will essentially have a 6-on-4 advantage.
Good poke check by Jones on Kopitar.
Huge face-off here, though.
And it will be in the circle to the right of the Leafs goal. And the draw won by the Kings. Kept in at the point by Kopitar. Extra man on for Los Angeles now. A 2-man advantage. Down low and back of the net. But the Leafs can ice the puck. And they can send it towards an empty net. Missed by about a foot. 13 seconds left in the Leaf penalty. Brought to center ice now by Kempe. In on the left wing, it goes down and around the boards to the far side. Minute 22 in the third, and an errant pass is going to sail all the way down into LA territory. Nowhere near the empty net, but the Leafs have got a man back on her now, just down one with 6 on 5. To the line and in over the line. Broken up at the blue line. Knocked back by the Leafs. Stolen now. Willie Nylander, empty net. Driving the net. Driving, and scoring! And this one is being put to bed as the Maple Leafs have a 3-0 lead.
And Nylander, who has had point streaks of 17 and 13 on the season, had the 13-game point streak snapped against Carolina the last time the Leafs played. And Willie says, let's start another one. As Nylander's second of the game, and I believe his first empty net goal of this season.
Comes at the 19-minute mark. And so one bit of business to work on here. As the Leafs win the faceoff and play it out and down the ice. Chipped along the boards to the blue line. Gregor couldn't come up with it. Kings get in over the line, play it back to the blue line, and chopped off a skate to center. And brought in, that looked like it was offside, but here's Anderson Dolan trying to work in on the wing. He was knocked off the puck. The Maple Leafs get it back at center. 27 seconds left to go. 3-0 Toronto. And Martin Jones, who has 22 wins against the LA Kings, is going to get his 23rd victory against the LA Kings. And dare I say, in another 5 seconds, his 30th career shutout, his second as a Leaf, and the third time he has whitewashed the Los Angeles Kings.
Two sides to this game. The LA Kings obviously weren't sharp, but easily the best defensive game the Leafs have played this season. Would you not agree with that?
Absolutely.
I mean, Martin Jones was solid, but was not forced to do anything spectacular. The Leafs didn't give up a lot of odd man rushes. Very few second opportunities on rebounds. And Sheldon Keefe wanted them to be more responsible defensively. Well, that message got through, and David Kampf, by the way, pretty good job on the penalty kill tonight, back into the lineup.
And absolutely. And the one thing, too, about Jones, he was never under siege. I mean, there were some stretches where they had good puck control, but never under siege.
Stretch, yeah.
No, exactly.
The first period, I think they had about a 40-second shift in the Leafs zone, but never got a shot on goal out of it. And the Leafs very methodical in this game. And this is what it's like being a Leaf fan, isn't it? You play Columbus twice, you lose both games. You play Ottawa, lose. Play Buffalo and lose. These teams are all struggling. But lose to Carolina and you say, oh no. Now they've got to start that Western trip in LA against the Kings, and they win 3-0.
Against one of the better.
But hey, buckle up. You got Anaheim.
No, that's right. Yeah, things can even out here.
Yeah,
exactly.
Coming up.
Well, we'll be back with you tomorrow night when they are in Anaheim, and we'll have that action beginning with 9 o'clock tomorrow evening as this California road trip continues for the Maple Leafs. Post-game show coming your way. Leafs win 3-0. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Congratulations to all our subscribers who took home a fantasy football title this year with the expert advice on Fantasy Sports Radio.
I want to thank you guys for making me a better fantasy player.
The winning doesn't stop there. Stick around to dominate DFS hockey and hoops, March Madness, fantasy baseball, and more. The winning never stops on Fantasy Sports Radio.
I won by 5 points thanks to your advice.
I want to help people win more than I want to win myself.
Sirius XM Channel 87 and the Sirius XM app.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio. Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
You have the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Not only is Sidney Crosby one of the greatest, probably top 5 NHL players of all time, and there's some non-hockey people in Pittsburgh that don't want to hear this, he's as good and as important as anyone who's ever played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whether you want to understand that or not, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. 24/7 hockey talk.
One of the greatest goaltenders of all time, Patrick Waugh. When you put your hands up, did you know at that moment that you were done?
No, I did not. Unfortunately, it happened. Just gave me a chance to have a fresh start somewhere else and be traded to Colorado was a good opportunity. Sometimes you need that little, change, and it was welcome for me.
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
18 months ago, I had new Flyers head coach John Tortorella. And I asked him what he was worried about the club, and he said, I don't like the room. We have a bad room. And I'm like, you haven't even coached this team yet. A year and a half later, John Tortorella loves his room. He loves this team, and he loves that they compete every night.
Point with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on Sirius XM FC.
Patrick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate, weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
This is Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs live here.
And Martin Jones, who has 22 wins against the LA Kings, is going to get his 23rd victory against the LA Kings. And dare I say, in another 5 seconds, his 30th career shutout, his second as a Leaf, and the 3rd time he has whitewashed the Los Angeles Kings.
3-0 the final score for the Leafs over the Kings. Jones gets the shutout, stopped all 31. Welcome to Leafs Game Night, the post-game show, abbreviated edition because it's so late. Jim Taddy and Josh Cloak from The Athletic. Josh, this was the full effort here, wasn't it? I mean, everybody participated in this, and it kind of restores some positive thoughts.
Oh, I think it has to restore a lot of positive thoughts because up and down the lineup, the Leafs got performances they needed from every single player, right? I don't think you can single anyone out as having a bad game, but you can certainly, single out a lot of players for having really, really good games. And often, what was notable from this Leafs team was that they were doing the little things right. That's not glamorous, right? And a 3-0 scoreline doesn't sound that dominant, but when you're getting so many players blocking shots, when you're getting so many players, laying hits, behind the blue line, when you're getting so many players winning puck battles, these are the kind of things that Sheldon Keefe wants his team to do. And when you kind of compound them, add them all up, you get the performance that they did.
Yeah, you talked about blocked shots. I have the event summary open in front of me. 28 shots they blocked, and Liljegren blocked 7. I mean, literally, I'm trying to think who didn't block a shot. Nylander didn't.
But Nylander also scored 2 goals. And again, when you talk about players doing what's kind of expected of them, I thought William Nylander looked great.
Yeah, no, there's more check marks than non-check marks. And, you know, I'm sort of reconditioning my thought process on the benching of camp. You know, we can go back and do the retrospective analysis, but maybe that was the big wake-up call for the bottom six forwards, because I thought the top six is going to do what they do. Bertuzzi played with edge, no question about that. Nyes always does, but I really noticed Bobby McMahon tonight leaning in, and I mean, he always does this along the boards, but he was more noticeable to me tonight.
And he was noticeable shift after shift. It's that consistency that I think the Leafs need, and what I guess has been lacking a little bit. But because, again, we talk all the time about how this team, you know, can show up one game and then not show up the next game, right? And Ralphie alluded to it as the game was ending. This is what it's like to be a Leafs fan. This is the kind of emotional turmoil that Leafs fans go through from game to game, because there are moments when they are world beaters, like tonight, and there are moments where they essentially beat themselves. But this is the kind of game that I'm almost positive Sheldon Keefe will clip, you know, plenty of video from, and he will go back to time and time again throughout the season, just to remind players, this is what you're capable of. This is the way that we can, you know, adhere to our defensive structure. These are the little things that you need to do, and the result speaks for itself. Like the Kings coming into this game had the 5th best points percentage in the league. I think we can safely call them an elite team. And when you do these kinds of things against elite teams, you know, you get closer and closer to literally calling yourselves, you know, one of the best teams in the league too.
Leafs win at 3-0. This is Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
Hey there, Canadian snowbirds. Planning your escape to warmer destinations? Don't forget the most essential part of your trip, travel insurance. Picture this. You're basking in the sun, sipping a pina colada, and suddenly life throws you a curveball. Medical emergency, delayed luggage, trip interruption? Don't worry. Goose Insurance has you covered. Canada's best insurance app. With Goose, you get $10 million in travel medical and get coverage for your unstable pre-existing medical condition. Download the Goose app today or visit gooseinsurance.com.
When you're working out at Planet Fitness, it's a judgment-free zone, so you can really step up your workout. That's why we've got treadmills. And our team members are here to help, so you can be carefree with the free weights. There are also balance balls, bikes, cables, kettlebells, and TRX equipment. But, no pressure.
Get in the judgment-free zone. Get started at Planet Fitness for 24 cents down and then $15 a month. No commitment, cancel anytime. Deal ends January 12th. $49 annual fee applies. See Home Club for details.
From the first time on the ice to the best game of their life, Esso is proud to support Canadian hockey at every level. Starting with minor hockey, where Esso medals cheer on the achievements of players to take them far on their hockey journeys. Esso medals participants have represented our country on Team Canada, and we're proud to support them on their quest for greatness. Learn more about Esso medals at essomedals.com.
Leafs win 3-0. Great start to their California trek. Jim Taddy and Josh Cloak in the Athletic with you. So, Josh, now we go to the burning question. Who starts in goal tomorrow night?
Is it who should start in goal or who will start in goal?
Well, no, who should? I mean, this is a coin flip for me.
Well, I mean, who should start in goal? I think it's probably Dennis Hildeby, because you add it up, and you know, Martin Jones did stop 31 shots tonight. It looked early on like he wouldn't have a busy night. He only got 6 shots against in the first period, but the Kings hung around. 31 shots and a shutout, to me, that deserves a day off. And I think when you're playing a team like, the Anaheim Ducks, not one of the best teams in the league, you can kind of, I don't know if afford is the right word, but you can afford to start Dennis Hildeby in his first NHL start. That's who I think should start, but who will? It really wouldn't surprise me if Keefe goes back to Martin Jones tomorrow, perhaps because he feels his confidence is high. And he alluded to the fact that Jones could start both games of the back-to-back. You risk injury with that. And then you're in real trouble. So I think the should and the will is probably what's going to be on Keefe's mind as they take the bus from LA to Anaheim.
Now, that's one decision I want no part of, because the ramifications out of that could be catastrophic if Jones was to get injured.
I think you ultimately just have to ask yourself if Dennis Hildeby can keep his head above water. And at 6'7", he should. That's a tall joke there. I know it's late, but that's a tall joke there for you.
Yeah.
But I just think that he's had such a strong start to the AHL season. Again, they don't want him necessarily to be here. They want him developing in the AHL, but he's here. You're going to go back to Martin Jones on Saturday. Why not just give him a shot? Because look, he depending on how things go with Samsonov, this might be his only game for the next week, 2 weeks, and then you're kind of fine, right?
Yeah, and it's hard to read. We had the clip from Brad Treliving on earlier in the pregame show about how they're going to just work with him off ice, and he's not with the Marlies this week. And I don't know where any of that goes, and I don't know that you could just talk and discuss things and repair it. Smarter people than me could figure that out, but it seems precarious at best. So I don't know where any of this goes, but I would just absolutely vote down playing Martin Jones in consecutive nights, just because what happens if?
And you're going to need him on Saturday.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the games are going to continue, right? The Leafs have a little bit of a lighter schedule next week with games Tuesday and Thursday. But then there's another back-to-back coming, right, in a week after that. So, the games are going to keep coming. You need Jones. He's immediately become one of the most valuable players on this roster right now. So I guess the question becomes, who would you rather protect, Dennis Hildeby or Martin Jones? And if your answer is Martin Jones, then you start Dennis Hildeby.
Yeah, well, it's just one of those decisions that you just hope they make the right one and it works out, just because another injury there I don't know where you would go after that. That's a tough one. But nonetheless, they've got something to build on here. If you had to pick a player of the game, Nylander had 2 goals. Bertuzzi had 2 primary assists. Tavares and Domi with helpers, and Yarncroke with a nice goal, and Jones with a shutout. Who would you go with?
I think it's Tyler Bertuzzi for me, because he just personified this Leafs effort tonight, and that effort was consistent, right? It's one thing to make a highlight reel pass off the rush, but what stuck out was Tyler Bertuzzi's ability to win puck battles down low, not give up on pucks. That's exactly the way that you beat teams like the LA Kings, by just playing consistently, putting in, effort shift after shift, and he did. And when you can add some offensive flair to it, you have the makings of a good evening.
Josh, thanks very much. Appreciate your help here.
Listen, you take the rest of the night off, okay, Tapman?
No, I can't. I got to do an out-of-town scoreboard. That was really mean-spirited. This is Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
You've been listening to NHL Play-by-Play on SiriusXM. Head over to SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, for the best hockey talk.
Backed him, and he stayed. And last year, remember, after 2 games, there was the fire Lindy, and Tom Fitzgerald was like, is everybody crazy? It's 2 games into the season, and let's calm it down. And they go to the second round.
And then the Sorry
Lindy
chants, too. Let's not forget about those.
Yeah, then the Sorry Lindy chants. They go to the second round. Ruff got a short extension, which he had this year. I think he got 1 year and an option. I'm not 100% positive, but I believe that's kind of what it is in that area. And Travis Green comes in as an assistant, sort of like, in some people's eyes, coach in waiting, right? That whenever it happens, he's your guy. So there's this kind of thing here that if you need a succession plan, you kind of have one. The thing is, I don't think people like Lindy Ruff go from smart to dumb in 6 months. I think that New Jersey has flaws, some of it because of injury and some of it because of performance, that they didn't have last year, that now all of a sudden they're dealing with. You look at Edmonton and you talk about all the coaching changes this year. I think Edmonton would be the one that everybody would say, wow, that was fast. And they just felt, you know what, We don't like the way this is going. It's not 100% fair, but we're going to make the change. And, you know, the thing I worry about is when one team does it embolden other people to do it? And, you know, so when I look at Ruff, there's enough smoke out there that you wonder, okay, what exactly are we dealing with here? Like, I just don't see how Lindy Ruff goes from a genius who got them to the second round to a complete idiot 6 months later. I just don't believe that happens. And I would think, you know, like everybody here believes that Dougie Hamilton, if he's coming back, he's either coming back right before the playoffs or into the playoffs. They can use the cap space, right? The LTIR space.
Yep.
Here's the thing, like, you can't even be guaranteed now that you're going to have that. So if you want to save this season, you've got to strike. The way I look at it is, are you really going to be able to change enough right now if you just fire the coach?
SiriusXM has soccer covered end to end. SiriusXM FC. Hear live play-by-play and talk shows hosted by legends of the game. It's SiriusXM FC on Channel 157.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Wednesday, January the 3rd. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7:30 p.m., Washington Capitals take on the New Jersey Devils. Capitals on Sirius 208, XM 219, and Internet 950. Devils on Internet 937. 9 p.m., Anaheim Ducks face the Toronto Maple Leafs. Ducks on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 920. Maple Leafs on Internet 947. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Wednesday, January the 3rd. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest.